Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of art, it's the Tenet Podcast. I'm Todd Pearson here with my good friend and partner, the other half of Tenet, two-time Clark, South Dakota Potato Days mashed potato wrestling champion. You know him as quite possibly the most interesting man in the world, the one and only Wes Brown.
Oh my God, Todd, how you doing, my friend? Oh shit, it's another week or another second week. Odd off week. I don't know. Odd week.
I think you're odd enough.
So you finally found it. The Clark Potato Festival mashed potato wrestling competition.
I did. And I got to just say that I'm a little perplexed that I have to continually Google you, which sounds kind of kinky, but I continually Google you and I come up with these odd things. So two-time champion. Yeah.
Finally.
Finally.
Yeah, well, everything else I ever do, I always come in second, third.
Yeah.
Or right. Yeah. So yeah, two-time champion, Clark, South Dakota, northeast part of the state. Beautiful little town. But with a big heart and lots of potatoes.
And that's like just a little bit east of Watertown. Is that right? Is that correct?
It'd be west of Watertown.
Oh, west of Watertown.
Yeah.
Oh, west of Watertown. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
That makes sense.
I go through Clark quite a bit when I'm on my way home to see my dad in the Big Sisseton.
In the Big Sisseton?
In the Big Sisseton. 2,000 people. Clark's smaller. Imagine that. Yeah, small town.
So this is actually, these winnings, this championship is actually pre you like finishing off your jiu-jitsu training, wasn't it? 2000 and 2005.
2005. Yeah.
2000, you took down Elmer Spud.
Spud.
Yeah. And 2005, you took down Tater Salad. So
Tater Salad.
Yeah.
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
What do you mean it sounds familiar? You were wrestling in mashed potatoes with these dudes. How is it not familiar?
How can you forget Tater Salad? I mean, come on.
But you've never wrestled the record holder, Steve O'Groton.
Steve O'Groton, the record holder. Oh my God.
Four-time winner between the Barnesville, Minnesota mashed potato wrestling and Clark, South Dakota.
Yeah, he's a legend up there. Absolute legend. I don't even think I ever came up face to face with him. He's always like, another time, another place. And I haven't wrestled there a whole lot, but yeah. So. And
what's your preferred attire when you're in a vat of mashed potatoes wrestling around with the other dude?
Well, Speedo.
I was gonna say Speedo, but I thought maybe it was like the called a mawashi, what the sumo wrestlers wear.
Oh, a sumo outfit. That would be great. No, I didn't wear that. That was before. Well, it wasn't before my jiu-jitsu years because I started jiu-jitsu in 1992. But But yeah, the Speedo. I mean, that was even precursor of the English Channel thing. But these were, actually, I bought these. I was a little more buff. I was fresh out of the Marine Corps, so Speedos. Why not?
Right on. So are you going to do it this year? Because it's coming up the beginning of August.
Is it?
Yeah, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Those are the dates. You should get a Tenet t-shirt and Tenet attire and go wrestle somebody in Clark.
So
South
August
Dakota.
6th and 7th.
5th, 6th, and 7th, it looks like.
3-day event.
3-day
event. They must have added a day. No, that's amazing. Yeah. They mash a lot of potato for that. Yeah, a lot of potato for that.
And apparently after it's all said and done, they bring in a bunch of like cattle and stuff to like eat the potatoes.
I've never stuck around for that because the screaming girls, they go nuts. So I'm on the bus. I'm like Willie Nelson, do my show, get on the bus and I'm out. Minus the pot. Cause I haven't, I don't smoke a blunt on my way out, but I do drive through Blunt, South Dakota on my way home because that's right outside of Pierre. So,
oh man.
Oh my gosh.
Good for you, Wes Brown. You are my hero. And I swear to God, if we can make this sponsorship thing happen,
let's do it.
We will do it. But I'm serious. Like, get it together, dude.
5th, 6th, and 7th.
I've been pimping you for a couple 3 years now. I think the least you can do is go to Clark, South Dakota and wrestle in mashed potatoes.
All right. I'll have to get my Speedo out of
I'm going to harass you about this.
The cedar chest. You're going to harass me about this? Okay. We can do that.
I am. I keep on wanting you to do one of these contests, like in real time. It's always in the past.
It's always in the past. That's where it should go. Always in the past. But yeah. Well, I got to start working out now. Shit, I got a month. Not even.
You got like 2 weeks. I think you can do it.
All right.
Maybe a little purging going on after you eat.
There'll be purging after the wrestling match. What are you talking about?
All right. This has gone sideways fast. Hey,
oh my God.
Talking about events, we have an event coming up. We're excited to share an event that is happening in September. Fleischer Family Farm, in conjunction with the Tenant Podcast, are going to present a one-day event, Art and Ag, Saturday, September 10th from 10 to 5. Come out to the farm located at 2005 South Zephyr Court in Lakewood here, right in my hood. Come check out this wonderful organic farm, buy some farm fresh produce, check out beautiful art, and support local artists. Stay tuned to our social media for more details. And in the meantime, check out the Fleischer Family Farm website at FleischerFamilyFarm.com and find them on Facebook at the Fleischer Family Farm.
Art and Egg, huh? Art and Egg? That's what you said?
Art and Egg.
So I think there's going to be a painting pig. I think there's a painting pig that specializes in abstract, and then a moo cow that specializes in figurative. Is that true? Maybe not. Okay.
I think this sounds
no
like
painting pigs. Or
this is a South Dakota thing for sure.
No painting pigs.
If you can,
if you can, Clark, I can bring.
If you can swing it, dude, we'll do it.
All right, bring a painting pig.
I'm sure there's somebody in Colorado that has an animal that paints.
Yeah.
We'll ask our next guest about
it.
There
you go. There you go.
I bet he might know. He might have some people that have livestock that are artists.
Well, if the elephants can do it. Remember they had that painting elephant? I don't remember where it was at, but some zoo. Anyway. All right. Let's do some art, man.
All right. You know that we love to mix it up here, right?
We do.
We love to mix it up on the Tenant Podcast. You're absolutely on the money, Wes Brown. Our next guest is an artist, musician, curator, and host of the Hypnotic Turtle Radio. You can catch his show Wednesday evenings at 9 p.m. at radio1190.net, and you can check out all his projects and his archives at hypnoticturtle.com. Welcome to the program, Arlo White. Arlo, how are you? Thank you for joining us.
Man, thank you guys, man. I am doing great. Yeah, like I said, long-time listener, first-time caller. Thanks for having me, guys. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this.
So keeping up with the whole animal motif,
yes.
Hypnotic Turtle, where does that come from?
Well, in 2004, I was just kind of first getting involved in art. Finally, breaking out of my shell, so to speak. Getting my toes wet and all this stuff, and was having a great time. And was making some really cool stuff and collaborating with cool people. But one day I just really wanted something that was all my own, wanted an umbrella to encapsulate all my different projects, all my different personalities. At the time I was having, and I still do, but I was having a running dialogue with myself. And I'm a big wise ass. So whenever I have an idea, I'll usually shoot it down, or I'll, just argue with myself, because, that's what you do, I guess, or that's what I do. No, but, so I was thinking, and I just had a couple animal titled, like my first solo album was titled Penguin. Our first record label was titled Panda Candy. And there was a couple other animal references. And I was thinking to myself, it's like, I need a name, but no more animal references. And then just like that, I said to myself, well, how about Hypnotic Turtle? And I was just like, well, you're stupid. And then I went and Googled it, which is what you do, and the thing that came up was this turtle out in the Coral Sea that goes into this hypnotic trance when it gives birth. And that kind of just really struck me, because in all my artistic ventures, I'm always in some kind of trance, whether it's induced by a substance or just, just out there, getting lost in what I'm doing. So it just really kind of struck me as very apropos. So that was it, and I didn't really think, being like Boulder based, it would be very hippy dippy sounding or anything like that. So, that was totally not in my thought process, but then it brought up to me a few years later. It's like, oh, is that some kind of hippy dippy thing? I was like, oh, kind of sounds like it, doesn't it? But no, it's not. It's not. Although I'm not against any kind of hippy dippy anything. I love hippies and I love dippies. I mean, I'm pro dippy all the way. So it's not that, but it was very apropos, so I kind of went with that and gave myself an umbrella. And in doing so, it really just giving myself this umbrella and this name of this corporation, this, entity. I mean, I just really gained confidence to do all the things I'd ever wanted to do in those realms, in art, like, whether it's street art or writing music or being in a band or making flyers for the shows or just having confidence to, try to get my own art show or any number of these things. It's like I never had the confidence to do it until not that I gave myself permission, but I kind of did. It was kind of giving myself permission to, go get weird. I mean, I know you're weird, but I mean, go out, let other people know how weird you are. Not that way, but I mean, it was kind of like, get it out of the house, get it out, because I had been talking to my wife for years, when we lived in Eugene, Oregon for a couple of years and just saw how easy it was for bands to, take it from the garage to the stage or even performers in any realm. We saw a lot of local theater. We saw a lot of amazing local performances. And, it was the 90s. So it was, it was grunge time, but it was kind of after that. And it was like more of the stuff that I was discovering up there was more of the free jazz oriented realm. And there was a lot of spoken word stuff. There was a lot of, it was just a little more out there than it was in other places. I mean, the college radio up there was amazing. And it was just at another level from what we had here in Colorado. We didn't have college radio at the time here in Colorado in the 90s, not until 98 when Radio 1190 first came out. You know what I mean? And you'd read like Rolling Stone for years and it's like, oh, college radio. It's like, I want to fucking hear college radio. You know what I mean? What does that even mean? We kind of, KTCL early on kind of had that college, that's basically what they were talking about, that kind of, but, it wasn't like a free, I mean, we had, KGNU, we have freeform DJs, but the music's in a very, it's quadranted. It's like, 1 to 3 in the afternoon from midnight to 3 a.m., 3 to 5, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's not like the whole station is just, this wild freeform madness. But the music was in the 80s and early 90s for sure. The music on KGNU was very influential and very freeform. But in the Northwest, it was just like it was a whole nother level. I mean, they were just like there was no. I mean, when we went to Eugene, it's when we stopped drinking tap water because we were there for probably about 3 days, and like just a couple months before we moved there, they closed down the mental health facilities and just like unleashed everybody onto the streets. So when we first showed up in Eugene, Oregon. I mean, it was like a freak show, but like not in a good way. You know what I mean? It was just like, I mean, everywhere you went, the people, it was like, what the fuck is going on here? You know what I mean? It's like, we are not drinking the fucking water here. You know what I mean? It was like, I mean, and I'll admit that's the time when I wasn't in the conspiracy stuff, in the 90s when it was cool, I'll put that out there, conspiracy stuff is not cool anymore. Unfortunately, but, so I'm sorry, I'm all over the place, but yeah. So I mean, went out to the Northwest, blew my mind. Got a college radio gig up there, which I had always wanted to hear. I took classes at KGNU in the early 90s before we went out there. But so when the opportunity came up, the radio station just kind of put out a call to the community, and I just I pretty much ran down there, and there it was just filled out their application and this and that, and got a radio show, and it was incredible because it was just something I always wanted. I'm a big fan of radio. Always been, more the late night radio when DJs would get a little weird, even on the commercial stations, like, back in the, again, 70s and 80s, early 90s, they would have a little freedom and maybe they would play like whole side of an album. Maybe they would talk for a half an hour about like a concert they went and saw, or maybe, what I mean? It would just be like these interesting characters. And, and you're always going to find interesting characters on the overnights, you know what I mean? Pretty much if you want something interesting, tune into the radio after midnight, and scan around. You'll find something reasonably interesting. I don't even know what we're talking about, but yeah, it was incredible. Radio always been huge for me. I actually did college radio in 1991 and 1992. Right, that first year in college, I spent 10 years in the Corps, and then I went to college. Wow. So I got in there, and man, it was a lot of fun, but I wasn't very good. And I was on Friday nights, and I wasn't very good. So, but my radio name, this is so funny, was Mason Storm. And now I wish I had a radio name now. Great porn name. That's a great porn name. Yeah.
It is a great porn name.
Totally. Yeah,
Oh my
always
God.
use my own name on the radio though. Always confident with Arlo because I knew I was always going to do something that wasn't going to be heard any other time than when I was on. And then
So
shortly after that, I actually read an article in the Village Voice. The restaurant I worked at was next to a bookstore, so like every week they would toss out the Village, all the weeklies. So like I'd get like the San Francisco Weekly, the Village Voice, and all this stuff, and just kind of drool at the stuff that I wasn't seeing. You know what I mean? But it also hit me to stuff. You know what I mean? But I read this article about DJ Spooky, and he was like involved in the underground club scene in New York, and they were kind of him and like DJ Olive and like these other guys were kind of like almost inventing this style of music called ambient, which is like ambient, but it was like ambient with whatever you could really imagine mixed in. So it was like more like soundscapes, and it really just kind of blew my mind, even though I had no way to hear it at the time. This is like, internet existed. Pretty much just in Al Gore's basement, but it existed at the time, but I wasn't, active with it. So, you couldn't, not like today where it's like, oh, what's this band sound like? Oh, here's their whole discography. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, back then it was just like, you'd be lucky to find stuff in the record store. You have to special order stuff, So I special ordered one of his CDs, and and it was okay, you know what I mean. But it wasn't like what I was expecting. But anyway, just the idea of it just kind of blew my mind open with what you could do with multiple sound sources. You know what I mean? It's like I've always been a fan of like playing like a spoken word thing and then playing like an instrumental track with it, or stuff like that. Just like making your own music for the night. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. Making your own performance. But just for the moment, but just having and being in the station, because 2 turntables is awesome. But having 2 turntables, a couple cassette decks and a couple CD players and a cart, a cart player. You can do anything. And it was like, my earliest performances, were kind of a mess, obviously, because you're just throwing all kinds of stuff and hoping something gels. And it would sometimes, and it wouldn't other times, but again, I was on 1 to 4 in the morning. So it was like I pretty much had free reign. And it was back in the days in the 90s, well, pre Super Bowl fiasco, where the FCC, you could play a disclaimer and you could play whatever the hell you wanted. It could say, I could play fuck all night long. And nobody, it's like as long as I played my disclaimer, I was free and clear. It was pretty amazing freeing time at that, but blah, 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 everything's getting cracked down. But no, sorry. But
and college radio is completely different than, commercial radio in the city,
Yes. Our station, we're kind of on automatic pilot at the moment. And we lost our FM transmitter temporarily. So we're just floating in the internet waves at the moment, but we'll be back. We'll be back stronger than ever. I promise. Well, I can't promise that, but we'll be back. We'll be back. But yeah,
that's actually kind of cool, isn't it? Arlo, that it's just internet based right now, because anybody can listen to your program.
Well, yes. No, I love that. I love that. And we've seen from the hits on our website, it's like from all over, and it's just like random, and you're just like, how did they, how would they hear about it? So we've had many, interesting guests that obviously draw listeners, but sometimes it's really random shows, and you're just like, wow, that one had so many, I don't know. It's all very random, but
that's really interesting to hear, because we're always trying to figure out what the special ingredient is that makes a show, an episode, like kind of blow up.
Yeah.
And other ones that you think you're just going to hit it out of the park, they go nowhere.
Right.
Right. It's like, I don't, how does that happen? So it's nice to hear somebody that's been doing this for a while have the same kind of experience. Like,
yeah, it's very random. It's very random. And sometimes like a local band will get bigger hits than like somebody like Tommy Stinson from the Replacements or something like that. You know what I mean? It's just like, you never, not that I think local bands are less than anything like that, but I'm just saying it's, you never know what it's going to hit to grab people in. And, and I wish more people would come back. Well, and I really don't know if they do or not. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I just assume, I'm sure, one and done. It's like, I can't hang with that dude. I don't know.
So tell our listeners, how long have you been doing Hypnotic Turtle, though?
Yeah, we will. In January, we'll be on 10 years. We'll be 10 years. So yeah, we like to say we've been bending brains for 10 years on Radio 1190, and it's been a great ride. It's really been a great ride. I've always, like I said, always wanted to do a show. Came back from Eugene. I went back to KGNU, did a little bit, but we came back. My wife, we were 9 months pregnant. My wife was 9 months pregnant. I was just hanging on. But we moved back to Colorado. So when I went back to KGNU, it's like we had just had our second child. And it was like the first time we had left the house in like months. And I was like late for my first meeting. And it was just like, was off to a bad start. I mean, the program manager or the station manager at the time, you know, we hit it off, but she was just like, you know, radio is kind of about being on time. And I was just like, yeah, I know. It's the first time I left the house in 3 months, but you know, it went okay. I mean, it went really well, but I just couldn't do it at that time. I just didn't have the time. You know, like I said, I'd be doing the 1 to 3 a.m. or the midnight to 3 a.m. or the 3 a.m. to 5:30 shifts, and then go straight to my job and then come home, you know, and it was just, you know, I really wanted it, and that's why I was doing it, but it was just kind of breaking me. It was getting hard. It was getting too hard. I don't know. That's a kind of a cop out, but I mean, it became difficult. So I kind of bowed out for KGNU for a while, and you know, just kind of gave up hope about the radio show. I had every once in a while I would contact 1190, just reach out. It's like, hey, you know, do you ever have community members do shows there? And they would say no. And then like a new show would pop up with like a non-student, and I'd be like, oh, okay, you know, that's cool. But then one day after promoting my bands on the air there, going in the studio a couple of times, I became friends with the program director at that time, and you know, Facebook friends. And she sent out a Facebook message like, hey, anybody in the music community interested in doing a radio show? And I just like, you know, I probably broke my computer trying to get back to her so fast. But I mean, it was like, I was just like, please, yes, you know. And we kind of went back and forth about what the show would be, because at that time I really, you know, I was trying to describe it, you know, and like I am now, just trying to put words to the thoughts in my head. It became very difficult. And I kind of like sent her this like weird list of like made up music genres. And she's like, that sounds amazing, but what is it? And I'm just like, you know, so we'd keep going back and forth, and she's like, yeah, that's incredible, but what is it? And I'm just like, I don't know. You know, it's, you know, it's the, you know, weekly mind meld of the bizarre and beautiful, which is what we finally came up with. But I mean, you know, it's just kind of, I mean, sometimes I hate to say it. I don't hate to say it because it's totally me, but I mean, like when the show's at its craziest, it's like, that's kind of like what it's like to be in my mind for like a second, you know what I mean? It's just like, I got like, you know, again, multiple sound sources. I got dialogues. I got, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, I could be schizo, but I mean, nobody ever tells me anything bad. So I don't, you know, I'm going with it. You know, I mean, I've never had to kill the pets or anything, or, you know, I mean, put the pet in the dumpster, you know. But no, but it's like, I don't know, like it's hard to explain it. Cause like I said, there's like, it's so much going on sometimes at the same time. And it's like, and I've gotten lost in there. You know what I mean? Sometimes if you have too much stuff going on and you're like, oh, I'm going to stop this one. And you stop the main track, and you're just like, you know, and you got to fix it. You got to build it back up, and you got to, you know, you're sweating in the studio, and you're just trying to, even though, you know, again, who's listening? I don't know. But I mean, and I'm listening, you know what I mean? I'm going to go home and listen to it, and I'm going to be like, you know, I'm going to beat myself up about it, or I'm going to be like, man, you really, you know, I don't actually comment on myself that much. It's not like director's commentary in my brain all the time. Sometime, but no, I mean, I'm definitely my biggest and worst critic, you know, because I mean, again, it's something I learned early on being in bands, because, you know, the first handful of shows I'd do, you know, we'd make a mistake, and, you know, we just made a mistake. And then, you know, and then you figure on like 4 shows later, it's like, you know, if you didn't tell them you made a mistake, they wouldn't have known that you made a mistake. So it's like, you're the only one, you know, acknowledging your incompetence. I mean, nobody else would know. Everybody else thinks you're like, you know, you're in a band, or you're doing your job. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, an artist, you know, I mean, if you look at the best abstract piece and you go, well, I didn't mean to have any red on the corner here, but then it's like, oh, fuck off, dude. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, I mean, once, I mean, I think I get caught up in the process. No, I don't get caught up in the process. I get caught up in the results more than the process, I think. And I know that's probably doesn't make any sense, but sometimes I think, especially with like music and sound projects, I think if you let it keep going, sometimes it'll fix itself. And the same with paintings too. Sometimes, you know, if I'm like in the middle of a painting and at first I love it, and then, you know, 5 minutes later, it's like I did a whole bunch of shit to it, and I'm just like, what the fuck did you just do, dude? You know, but you keep working at it and you bring it back around. You know what I mean? Holy shit, what are we talking about? You know what I mean? Yeah, you can see I'm pretty fucking scattered. But
so have you been in a lot of bands, or are you in or just I
have. No, I mean, I don't mean to laugh. No, but I have. But I was a late bloomer. I didn't start my first band. I wasn't until I was 33.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was my first project, was an electro pop project. And it's still, it's still going. Our second album, 18 years in the making, will be coming out very soon. Yeah, Lint was my first project, and it was just for years. I mean, so long. I had wanted to be in a band, wanted to have a musical project. I mean, obviously, I could have just learned an instrument, and I would take care of itself. And I tried. I took lessons for quite some time. I took bass lessons. I took some guitar lessons. It just never stuck. You know what I mean? I don't know. I could never practice. I could never just dedicate myself to it, even though I wanted to do it, wanted to be able to write songs with the knowledge of being able to write music. You know, I really did. But it just really never took. And, you know, I can write a song on an instrument, or I can make a song, I should say. I don't write music per se, but I can make music, you know. But so for years, you know, I would, you know, meet musicians, be friends with musicians and artists and everybody, and just, you know, just be like, you know, and maybe I was too needy or desperate at those times, but it's like, you know, I was always just like, you know, hey man, you know, I would love to come over to your band rehearsal, just, you know, hang out, just, you know, maybe try, you know, I mean, not pushing myself on them, you know, I'm not, I mean, I am a little pushy, but, you know, but only, you know, in a good way, you know, but yeah, so I, you know, talked to friends for years, and nobody would ever take me seriously. You know what I mean? Could never get anything going. Every once in a while, you know, there'd be like a Saturday afternoon jam. We'd get together and make some noise or whatever like that. And that would be it, you know, and then until I made some new friends or whatever. So finally, through reconnecting with a mutual friend, my wife and I, one of our oldest friends, we reconnected early 2000s at a Flaming Lick Spec concert, ran into her and her new boyfriend. You know, and I hit it off, really hit it off really well. And he was a musician, and, you know, I talked my shit about, you know, wanting to make some music and stuff. He's like, well, why don't you come over? And I came over and we made some noise, you know, and one day he recorded it and sent me home with literally a 30-second disc of some noise that I was involved in. And I was fucking over the moon, man. You know what I mean? I had it. It was on a CD. You know what I mean? It was like, it was me. Like I told Todd when we talked, you know, for years, I've been listening to this show, Under the Floorboards, hosted by Little Theodore, a local avant-garde legend. His show was pretty much, you know, mostly found sound or self-recorded music, you know, cassette-based music. People would record it in their bedrooms, send it to him, you know, and I listened to the show for years. So for years, you know, I mean, I would hear like the sounds of people like walking in, you know, dried leaves and, you know, maybe humming Frere Jacques, you know what I mean? And that was fucking, you know, music to me, you know what I mean? So, I mean, and it is music. It's still, I mean, it is very much to me music. I'm not saying it shouldn't be considered sound or music, you know, I mean, it very much is. It's art and it's music. And for years, you know, I would hear the stuff and it's kind of stuff that everybody hears and goes, oh, I can do that. And you can do that. You really can. You just have to do it. You know what I mean? And you have to want to do it. And you have to know what you want those results to sound, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? For a long time, any kind of sound that I would hear, it's like, I would just be thinking, man, if I just recorded that, I could send that into Little Theodore and that would be my song. And literally for years, I'm thinking this, you know what I mean? It's like, I could have done it like 100 times over, but finally, you know, it wasn't until I had this fucking CD, you know what I mean? Cause it was a CD, you know what I mean? In the early 2000s, you know, it really just kind of, you know, and I played it for fucking everybody, you know, that would lit me, you know what I mean? And they were just like, you know, and it basically sounded like an elephant fart, you know what I mean? It was like, brr, brr, you know what I mean? It was like me playing on this, like, you know, this basically like slide guitar thing, but it's basically this piece of wood with some strings on it, you know, but I was fucking over the moon about it. You know what I mean? And I was like, I can do whatever, you know, I can really do it. I really can. You know, and that was our first, I mean, not that piece, but I mean, we went on to, you know, record an album, Lint, Sexy Harassment, or was our first album. And then immediately after, we just started plowing at these songs, these amazing pop songs, which, like I said, 18 years in the making. Album number 2 is coming out some point. But yeah, our new stuff is it's just great. It's brilliant. It's pop music. You know, but when the band formed, I was 33, dying to be in a band, dying to perform. So, I mean, I was like literally bursting out of my chest to get on stage and perform and see if I could do it. You know what I mean? Just, you know, to prove to myself or to at least see it, you know what I mean? Cause I mean, I was open to the fact that I would go out there and shit my pants and not, you know, run looking for my mom. You know, I mean, it wasn't foreign to me. I mean, I usually quit most of the things I started, especially as a child, So, but I mean, I needed to know. I mean, it was something for years and years and years and years and years. And my wife was like, are you ever going to do it? I'm like, no, I'm going to do it. So, and we did two shows. We did a radio show and we did one, it was a showcase for, there was these people in Boulder who did these compilations for years, the Cuvée Adventure Records. They did Cuvées. So we were on Cuvée, I think Cuvée 2, and they did a big show, and we put together a 3-song set. We formed a band, and we did it, and it went great, and everybody's excited about it. And it just kind of, nothing else ever happened. And at that time, and I really needed something else once I got my feet wet, I wasn't getting back out of the boat. You know what I mean? So, I just kind of went from there, and again, went back to my shit talking ways at parties to all my musician and artist friends. And, another friend of mine, Paul, we talked and we were hitting it off, and, everything I was saying, he was saying, yeah. And everything he was saying, I was saying, yeah. And I was like, well, how about you come over to my house, Monday at 3:00, and fucking Monday at 3:00, he was at my house. And it's like, that never happened before. You know what I mean? So, and when he came in, and, we literally sat down, and it's like I said, I didn't, I'm not a musician, but I have I have a bunch of keyboards and I have toys that make noise. And he is a guitar player. And he had this, at the time he had this little effects box, this little Japanese, it was like basically a toy too. It was this Japanese effects box, but it had like over 100 different effects on it. So it was kind of this ridiculous little toy that he would play with, and he would get different effects, and I would play on the Casio keyboard. And like everything we did was like a song. You know what I mean? Everything we did was like 2 to 4 minutes long. It had a beginning and an end, and it was just kind of ridiculous. You know what I mean? And nothing was planned. He might've had a couple riffs, and I had one song lyric that we did a track, which was the first song, which was called Tangles. And it was crazy. And then he would come over every couple of days, and we would bust out some more songs. And, it was wild. And we were both just like, wow, we were just kind of getting high on it. You know what I mean? Like, seriously. Because like I said, I can't tell you how ridiculous I had wanted this, just to be in a band. I didn't want to be a star or any ridiculous, any real dreams you would have of being, I just wanted to play in a band and play in a show and maybe put out a CD or an album, and we did. And, and Paul and I, we jammed for a long time. And, the first songs were real fun. They did, then we kind of morphed more into a rock and roll thing ish. After the Casio tunes, he just started writing these riffs. They were really good riffs, and I would write the lyrics, and they came real quick. And then we were hanging out a lot. So we were going to a lot of shows together. And we went to this one show in our Aurora at the Isle of Park Saloon. And it was this band Impaler. They're from Minnesota. And there was nobody at the show, like literally nobody. The only people at the show were the girlfriends for the opening bands. And so we were hanging out, and I ended up, talking to the promoter, and he was bringing in a lot of these shows at the time. And, to not a lot of people coming to the shows. And I just, told him I appreciated it, because these are from bands that I always wanted to see. And, just kind of talking to him all night. And like a day or two later, he announced Enuff Z'Nuff. They were 80s, kind of glamish, kind of peace punkish band, very Beatlesque band. And they said he announced that show coming to his place, Hubba's Pub in Aurora. And I hit him right up. I'm like, hey, my band, Dead Bubbles, we're not really metal, we're pretty melodic, but we'd love to play the show if you're interested. He's like, yeah, sure, you're on. And I fucking, I shit my pants, I clean it up. I emailed Paul. I'm like, dude, we got a gig. He's like, what are you fucking talking about? And I'm like, we're opening up for Enuff Z'Nuff. And he's like, what do you mean? And you know what I mean? He's like, he didn't even, was not registering. So we were a two-piece at this time. We were performing shows with him on guitar and me on vocals. And people didn't know what to make of us. I mean, there was a lot of Denver music message boards at the time. It was the time of the message boards. So it was fun. I'd go on there, and it's like, without any provoking of my own, people were talking about my fucking band. Not good, but I mean, they were talking about it. So they were like, who is this band? Are they a Christian band? Are they a parody band? Who the fuck are these guys? You know what I mean? Like, we really were pissing people off just by being a guitar player and a singer up there, and we played this one show, and the sound guy, like at the end of our set, he like stood up and like pointed at us and yelled, "Poet rock!" like he was so proud that he just fucking invented this genre, you know what I mean, that we fit into. And you know, it did fit, you know what I mean, but we were, you know, in our minds we were fucking rocking, you know what I mean, we were rocking, you know what I mean. We weren't, but you know, we were killing it in a different way, but yeah, we weren't rocking. That came a little later. But so yeah, we were just a 2-piece, and then we added my Paul's best friend, lifelong best friend, who played bass. So we added him on bass, and again, still no drummer, which we opened up for Quiet Riot one time at the Thunder in the Rockies, the you know, the biker rally, because it was pretty funny. We actually, I probably shouldn't mention this, but we were in a battle of the bands to open up for Ted Nugent in Loveland, and that's for real. And this is before, I mean, not before. Ted Nugent's always been an asshole, but this is before he was on his total fucking, I don't know, man. I mean, because he used to rally about rock and roll. He used to go on his tirades about rock and roll, and it was great to listen to him. Now he goes on tirades, and you're just like, who the fuck is this guy? You know what I mean? So I'm not defending Ted Nugent politically at all. But I mean, that first Nugent album, man, you can't deny. Anyway, so we were in this battle of bands. So
he's part of the Detroit sound, man.
But you can't deny it. But although I've had people on my show who were in that scene, like from the NC5 and stuff, and they were always like, Ted was always an asshole. Everybody always hated Ted Nugent.
Really? That's the way it's always been?
Yeah. Well, because he's, you know, he's very loud, you know what I mean? And he likes to ramble. Yeah.
Well, he's that dipshit in school that just could never shut the fuck up, right?
Thank you. Yes, exactly.
And another episode where Ted Nugent's our buddy. Yeah.
No, I can't defend Ted Nugent, but I have enjoyed his music. I'm not going to lie. But so Battle of Bands, we lost the Battle of Bands. Obviously, we didn't open up for Ted Nugent, which oh my God, I had so many fantasies about being up there with no drummer, just these three fucking, like, you know, like the Spinal Tap from the Mighty Wind. You know what I mean? Just like the three, the Quarrymen or whatever. You know what I mean? Ooh, you know, we weren't like that, but I mean, you know, because I mean, I had more confidence, and I owned it, even though it was fucking ridiculous. But anyway, so we did this, and then we get the opening gig for Quiet Riot. You know, we're on the big stage at the Thunder in the Rockies, and we're loading up. We're all loaded in, and then the sound guy finally goes to us, where's your drummer? She's got fucking 20 drum mics, like right around this like big circle in the back. You know what I mean? And we're just like, oh, we don't have a drummer. And he's like, oh, I guess I'll just leave him for Quiet Riot then. And like, well, they're not going to fucking go for that. But I mean, yeah, all right, whatever. But I mean, so, you know, we were just, we were weird, you know, I'm not going to, you know, maybe we deserve some of the hate messaging, but, you know, I was confident, man. I had always wanted to do it, and I wasn't going to get off the fucking stage anytime soon. You know what I mean? You know, so every show I'd have my fist in the air, you know, I'd be owning it, you know, and it'd be like one guitar line going behind me or whatever. And, you know, you'd hear the crickets, and you'd hear the, you know, and it's like, I just owned that shit. You know what I mean? And after a couple CDs, and actually a tribute CD to the Dead Bubbles, because we were very, you know, influential in our very small community, our very small circle of bands, we were able to, you know, manage to get a tribute album out to ourselves, which, you know, was, you know, I can, you know, honestly admit that was my ultimate ego stroke for sure, especially when we did the show. And, you know, there was an art show, and, you know, bands doing our music. And, you know, I kind of finally had to take a step back and go, God, you're an asshole. You know, I mean, but it was beautiful. It was really beautiful. You know what I mean? Even though, you know, totally, you know, it was just one of those things. She's like, you know, can we do this? Can I make people, you know, do my fucking music, and, you know, come and play it and make art to my music? You know what I mean? And it's like, I mean, obviously nobody would have done it if they didn't want to do it. You know what I mean? But I'm just like, you know, at one point during that night, I was like, God, is your ego big enough, dude? You know what I mean? It's like, you know, because obviously it was to my band, you know, it's to the conglomerate of all of our past and, you know, and members and everybody. But, you know, bottom line, you know, I'm the one that went on and did other stuff. I mean, not in a bad way. I mean, I just kept doing the music thing. I wasn't going to stop even after the Bubbles. I mean, I was not ready to quit. Still not. I'm still not. I just had practice this. I'm a wild little horse, you know, but yeah, Bubbles, again, it was a great moment, you know, did the tribute album, you know, Mind Blower. And then I did the Pretty Sure, which was you know, punk blues outfit, you know, a great, man, very talented musicians. And, you know, we were just, again, pretty much every project, and it's probably the same for most people, but every project I'm in with other people, we're just always at different stages of our life, different I mean, one's ready to go, one's ready to stop, one's ready to, but I mean, everybody in the Pretty Sure was on board. They were on board. It was a weird thing for me. I think I was just really frustrated from the bubbles. I was really uptight in the Pretty Sure. I had a couple on stage meltdowns that I've only had in that band. So I don't know. I can't explain it.
When you say meltdowns, what does that entail? Like, I want to hear what a meltdown is. Like,
man. All right. So we would practice shit to death, the Pretty Sure. And we had great songs. But sometimes, live shit happens. You know what I mean? And sometimes we would just, we'd get on the wrong page. We'd start playing, a couple of us play one song, a couple of us play a different song, any number of things. Confusion. There was a lot of confusion. But I would get really upset. I would, these are not proud moments. Now, I mean, it depends on what we were doing. If we were playing too slow, I would yell at us to play faster. But this one time, I'll tell this story. One time at the Buffalo Rose, so we're already, it was just a local band night at Buffalo Rose. So it wasn't, any big deal, but, and we're playing with a friend's band, and my mother and my sister were there. My wife was playing with us. Actually, she was in the band. So, we're just playing, and we're playing the song that we had, a brand new song that we had practiced to death, and it's not going right at all. And, every time the band tries to fix it, it gets worse. And we should have just stopped. I should, I'm more mature now, slightly, that I would just stop. Things have happened in bands since. We just stopped, start over. No big deal. But we didn't. We just kept going, kept getting worse. I went out in the audience and I heckled us. And then I got back up on stage and I started jamming the microphone into my ass to say, you guys are fucking me. Yeah, it was real ugly. The sound guy got up on the mic and goes, don't do that with a microphone. It was real bad. It was real bad.
Oh my God.
Dude, again, that's rock and roll. That's rock and roll.
It is rock and roll. Yes. But I'm not in the Brian Jonestown massacre. I'm not Anton. I'm not, again, there was no pressure. There was no record company was in the audience. No, it was just my mother and my fucking sister and my wife, it's just like, just the people who love me and who came to support me. And I'm just going to fucking berate, my band in front of them and in front of their family and friends. You know what I mean? It was all, looking back, it's all very embarrassing and very, but it is rock and roll, and very much so. I was very hyped up, obviously. I was ready to destroy some shit, whether it was my band's mental state, or something physical, but no. Yeah. So, but that was just that band. And I don't even know. I think it was just, because it was kind of like an FU to the bubbles, just because, I'm going to, do my own thing, and then, and my own thing wasn't crushing it like I wanted it to. And so I was taking it out on my band members. And it was a bunch of BS. And I readily admit that now, that I was way out of hand. And, again, that was just that band. And so, we got a good album out of that band. I shouldn't say out of that band, but we all got a good album together. We made a good album together. Subtle Sabotage, which, I think that probably says it all. But so there's a lot of sabotage on my part in that band for sure. And that led me to, actually right after that band, I got the radio show started, which was another crazy mind bender. Just because, like, trying to figure out what it's going to be. And then when I figured it out, I kind of just went through the first show in my head over and over and over again for like 2 weeks. And like, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't do anything. I'm just doing my show. And it's like, I told Todd again, that was a problem that started occurring, just like getting so obsessed with the things that I'm working on. My solo project, Diablo Montalban, which is just me. I do parking lot shows, like before the First Bank Center here in our town. They've had some amazing shows, and I've opened up for them, so to speak, in the parking lot before the show. So, I make my own flyer, so I'm on the flyer with those bands. It's pretty awesome. But I do shows in the parking lot. But Roger Daltrey came through town about 11 years ago. He did his version of Tommy, which is one of my favorite pieces of all time. The movie, the album, everything. So I was like, I'm going to do Diablo's going to do Tommy. So I had to learn the whole fucking Tommy album. I didn't have to, obviously, but I chose to learn the whole Tommy album, and I did, and it almost killed me. Because I mean, I wasn't sleeping. I'm running through the album. It's like I did the second half first. So, because I actually had disc 2 in my car because I got it in a free box at a record store many years ago. So I'd been in my car for years. So disc 2 was first. I got that down, and then disc 1, and then you got to run through the whole thing. And then, you can't really do it until you know it without the music. So, I mean, it's like, I got it down. I got it down. And so much so that, pretty much the only thing in my mind for the month up to that show was fucking Tommy. I'm at work running through it. It's just like, it was maddening. It was maddening. And I mean, and I chose to do it. So, I mean, I can't blame anybody, but I mean, it was awesome. It came off awesome. I mean, who can say they stood out in the parking lot and did the entire Tommy before the Who does it, or Roger did it, or, I mean, I don't think many people can say that.
So I want to get this straight. So you're in the parking lot. You're in the parking lot before the Roger Daltrey show.
That's right.
And you're performing the Who's rock opera Tommy.
Thank you.
Now you're singing this to the actual Who's soundtrack of the rock opera. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes. Well, I have three tracks going, all the same, but at different, slightly off time. So it's like, I start the first one, wait 5 to 10 seconds, start the second one, wait 5 to 10 seconds, start the third one. So it's kind of a looping, like a row your boat kind of ever evolving of Tommy. So it's like, how you kind of like row your boat, and the next person goes.
Does it have kind of that like
kind of a swooshing?
Whooshing, yes, like a reverbish, like whooshing effect.
Very much so. Yes.
Okay. All right.
So it's already trippy, and then you've got a guy out there, and luckily at the time I had a white microphone, just like fucking Roger Daltrey, and I had my little micro cube, battery powered amp cranked up to 10. You know what I mean? And I'm out. My car's blasting. You know what I mean? I got my car stereo, plus I have 2 boom boxes. Those are my 3. That's my sound system. Blasting Tommy. And people are just fucking do not know what the fuck is going on. Most people just walk by looking at you. Some people flip you off. You know what I mean? It's all good. It's all good. But we had there was this older couple that was like kind of parked near us, and they came over early on in the set and like, what's going on over here? And, luckily my wife was there because I can't, it's a long fucking album. There's not a lot of breaks. You know what I mean? So it's like, I didn't have really time to explain to people what the fuck's going on. You know what I mean? So, and I don't have any written pamphlets I can hand out, to explain the Diablo Montalban experience. So, and they were fucking all over it, and they went back to the car and they watched the whole show, and then they came back out for the finale. You know what I mean? And like, and my band had showed up, and like, my bass players like handed me like whiskey I'm doing like shots of whiskey in between like breaths of We're Not Going to Take It. You know what I mean? At the very end. And, it had like, my kids and my mom, we brought them, but they couldn't watch me the whole time. So they just kind of walked around. They kind of came back towards the end, and so I had like this whole like group around me towards the end, and for the big finale, and it was awesome. I mean, well, that's one of my best finales too. Is like We're Not Going to Take It. I mean, there's few better endings of a musical piece than that. I mean, the whole album's just this amazing mind fuck of a euphoric roller coaster. But I mean, it's I don't know. I mean, it's always resonated with me, obviously, but I mean, the Ken Russell film, was a big part of my youth. I mean, probably explains a lot about my life, but I mean, Ken Russell films, Sid and Marty Krofft, Banana Splits, the Monkees. I mean, those TV shows where it was, Gilligan's Island. I mean, where it was just like kind of slapstick realism ish. You know what I mean? Obviously Gilligan's Island wasn't real, but I mean, it was real to them, man. I mean, they were stuck there, dude. I mean, no, but I mean, I don't know. But I mean, it was just, and everything was fun too. That was another thing. I mean, I really, in my music and art, and even though, the radio show can get dense sometimes, I still, for me, there's some fun in there. There's fun, I'm all about message and everything, but I mean, if you want them to come back, it's gotta be fun. I don't know. For me, I mean, and that's my big thing right now too, with music and everything and art, and a lot of fun's been lost. I mean, you turn on the radio, even the pop music today, even though, it's got a funny beat, not funny, it's got a fun beat ish, but I mean, it's not fun music. You know what I mean? It's really, I mean, I guess the kids have fun with it. I mean, we were in Chautauqua last weekend walking around. Some girls were playing some shit really loud. They seemed to be having a good time. But I mean, I don't know. It was just that vapid, just kind of, I don't know. And again, I'm just the old man now, unfortunately. But unlike our parents, I do recognize that it is music. I just think it's very boring music. You know, I'm waiting to get I don't know, offended or shocked. I couldn't imagine what it would be. I mean, because the overt sexuality isn't shocking anymore. I mean, I know where the fingers go, ladies. I mean, it's like, you know, it's not a shocker. I mean, and same with the guys. I mean, I know where you put it. I know where it goes. I mean, it's, you know, just, you know,
that seems like that's what it's all focused on anymore.
Right. Right. And I mean,
it's always that way, but
right.
It seemed like music back in, well, I'm older than both of you guys, but
a little more.
It had a little bit of substance to it, at least.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. I mean, and some of it's still good. I mean, they're still good in everything. You know what I mean? Yeah. You put out 100 songs, there's going to be a couple good ones in there. You know what I mean?
Like, sure.
But yeah, but fun. I mean, shit, man. I mean, that's really all I want to. That's all I want to do is have fun. I don't know about you guys, but I mean, it's like, you know, the serious, boring, serious fucking, or the political just anvil that keeps dropping in my fucking head every other day. I mean, it's just like, that doesn't get me out of bed. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, I want to fight the power. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, you know, I'm getting a little older, man. I'm not as fucking. I mean, if I was fucking 18 right now, this is what I was. You know, I don't know. I mean, the revolution didn't come when I was ready for it. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm not going to fight. I mean, I still protest. I still do all that shit. I'll still make, you know, art for protest. You know what I mean? Absolutely 100%. But again, I just want to have some fun.
Right.
Well, you got to have fun. Even in the bleakest of times, you got to have some fun, man.
That's it, man. That was the old thing. It's like, if you want them to follow your revolution, you got to give them a beat to dance to. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
I would have paid money to go see you perform, Tommy.
I appreciate that.
I would have.
Maybe I'll do it again. I would love to do it again. Actually, I really would. That was really that was one of those projects that, you know, again, there was no reason to do it. You know, nobody was watching me do it per se. You know what I mean? It was just kind of a goal I set for myself, and I actually did it. You know, but it was one of those kind of, you know, jokey goals that I make that actually really turned out really well, that I was really impressed with. You know, I mean, impressed, but I mean, it's hard to say because I wasn't able to see the whole thing. But from what I remember, I mean, it was just, like I said, I mean, it's a very important piece to me. So just having my own little stamp on it, whether it's real or not, you know, reality is overrated for me for sure. But I don't know.
So talk a little bit more about this guy, Diablo.
Yeah. Well, he's my other half. I joke. I mean, my wife's my better half, but he's like my other better half. Just because he has so much fucking confidence and he doesn't give a shit about anything. And I mean, literally, I mean, I'm in awe of him sometimes. But he also drinks a lot. It's kind of give and take, but I love him. I mean, he's a great guy, but no, I mean, I think again, it's like, I just feel comfortable having a banner, having an umbrella, having you know, I feel real self-conscious, you know, it's like, here, art by Arlo White, even though, you know, obviously I signed my art. I'm not, it's by me. You know, I don't hide from my art. It just gives me more confidence with it's Diablo. You know, I always refer to him in third person, but you know, he's again, go back to the Under the Floorboards Little Theodore radio show, the noise and the sound collage type stuff. Always, like I said, always been a big influence to me, always been in the back of my mind, always wanted to make that kind of stuff. And I just kind of, again, I felt, you know, I'm not Beck, so I didn't want to put out like an album with like, you know, 10 songs with 10 different styles and that be me. And so it's like, you know, the noise stuff goes to Diablo, and, you know, the bands have their own personality, and, you know, I do solo stuff for my wife, songs for gifts and stuff like that. But yeah, Diablo, I mean, again, that's a confidence thing, gives me confidence. I put on a mask so that even though pretty much
what kind of mask?
Now it's a Mexican wrestling mask. The first mask I had was an executioner's mask. And during my first performance as Diablo with my wife, we performed at the tribute to Little Theodore, again, Little Theodore. And Sid Pink, who was supposed to he did host the show, but he got there late, so he didn't introduce us, but he brought me a mask. So in the middle of our last song, he's running up to me with this Mexican wrestling mask, waving it at me. He's like, put this on. And like, I'm singing with the other mask on. And he's like, put this on. So I'm like, all right. So I switched the mask. I put the mask on. And, that's been since then. And unfortunately, I've since lost that mask, unfortunately, because, sorry, that's hard for me to think about. But yeah, so now it's a Mexican wrestling mask because, for many reasons. One, I love lucha libre, but two, it's just, I don't know. I mean, again, I do like the mask, the anonymity of it. But I mean, again, like I said, pretty much everybody knows that it's me. Every once in a while, like when an article or something comes out, somebody will comment, Arlo and Diablo are the same guy. What? I mean, I appreciate that. I really do, because we have the same posture. You know what I mean? We have the same, I mean, it's pretty obvious, but yeah, it just gives me confidence and to make noise. And, I do DJ sets as Diablo and, of all kinds. I can do straight. I can do noisy. I love the noise, but if I do noise at a straight show, I pretty much clear the room. So, and that's something I'm conscious of, and try not to book myself at mixed events. But like all the Hypnotic Turtle like anniversary events we've done, there's always like a Diablo set, and I'll usually just like play some greatest hits from the show or whatever. But literally 2 minutes into it, everybody's leaving. So, and they'll come back when the band starts. But so, I mean, Diablo is definitely a floor clearer, but unless he plays like a noise show, there are audiences, for that. Absolutely. And like I said, I do straight stuff too. I've done DJ sets for friends' bands where it's just, straight ahead DJing, just tunes. Yeah, but
so does Art do the spectators know what Diablo they're going to see, the noise or the straight when they come?
No, I usually cater my Diablo to them. Yeah. Because like when I do the parking lot shows, which is pretty much I will make these sets ahead of time and again play them on the 3 sound sources, so they're kind of swirling and looping like that. But then I'm usually just standing there drinking, staring at whoever walks by, getting kind of surly. And it's like, I always think that I would like people to be interested, but usually when people come up and ask me like, what's going on or what are you doing? Or, or they really like it or whatever, I'm usually just like really kind of rude to them. And it's not conscious. I think it's just Diablo because he's usually like, 3 or 4 drinks in by that time. And, he's really got to pee real bad, because we're out in the fucking parking lot, you know what I mean? And, we still haven't gotten inside. We got to go get tickets. And he gets real mad at me sometimes, so I try not to, I try to keep him quiet, when we're in the public sector, what I mean? At shows, you get a little more leeway in a club, as a performer. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's hard to explain who he is. I mean, he's me. He's a better me because he's more confident. He's stronger. He's faster. No, I'm just kidding.
He's your superhero.
He really is. He really is. Superhuman strength. No, but yeah, it's just just something else to do, really, for me.
So do you consider this? Do you consider this all performance art?
Yes, very much so. Very much so. Andy Kaufman, or any spoken word, confrontational spoken word, stuff like that, where you get into people's faces. And I'm aware that actions can cause reactions, so I don't like to get too close to people's faces. But I'm not like rude or confrontational in that respect, usually. And if I am, it's more obtuse or, I mean, Diablo's definitely full of himself, obviously, because again, he doesn't take shit. He really doesn't. He's really very, I don't know. I'd be curious to see what my wife said about Diablo. Yeah.
Bring her in.
No, she's not here right now, unfortunately. Yeah, I would, because I am kind of curious. I mean, she would just say, "What are you talking about?" Yeah, I don't.
Diablo who?
Yeah, right. No, she's well aware of Diablo. No,
sure
she
is.
She the last show, she's actually only been with me for 2 of the parking lot shows. One when I did it for opening up for Fish. And the only reason I did that is because they were in my town and I'd never seen them. I'm like, I'll go see fucking Fish. Let's go see him. And it wasn't easy getting tickets. We had to do the stupid whatever. We got tickets. We went, but when we got there, they had like raised the parking prices like $10. So it pissed me off. So we had to go get cash and we had to do all this running around. So by the time I got set up to do the Diablo thing, I was like already pissed off. And the Fish crowd is the most responsive crowd I've ever fucking had. And I was so fucking pissed off there. People come over and they're like, wow, man, what's this, dude? Holy shit. I'm like, whatever, just get the fuck out of here. I'm just like, I'm like berating these people that would come over and it's like, wow, that's cool. Yeah, get out of here. You know, I was like chasing them off. Get out of here, kids. Get off my lawn. You know, I'm just like, but I mean, they were digging it, man. You know, because I had like 3 different fish shows going at the same time. You know what I mean? So it was just like, woo-doo-doo-doo-doo, Trade Noodle Fest, man. You know, I mean, it was like fucking, I don't know. I mean, it was cool and I dug it. But I mean, like I said, I was just like, you know, yeah, it was a hassle to get there. You know, it's in our own town. It was like a big hassle. And I was just like, you know, kind of pissed off. And, you know, I still had to do the set because I told myself I was going to do it. You know what I mean? And, you know, I made flyers, you know, that nobody saw. So, I mean, I had to do it. But, and the last one, the last show I did, my wife was with me as well. When we went to AEW wrestling at the First Bank Center. And I did some wrestling music, Diablo set. And I stood out in the back and I had a big, this show I actually made a giant Diablo head. So I had a big Diablo head at the back of our car. And I would stare, kind of felt a little bad because I would stare at the families walking by. And some of the kids got a little freaked out, you know, because they didn't know what the fuck was going on. Parents sure as fuck didn't know what was going on. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, you know, but the Mexican wrestling mask wasn't really as out of place there, you know, because they've got a couple luchadors in AEW. So, but I don't know, but it was fun. It was super fun. Oh my God.
So these performances are all spontaneous, right? As far as the crowd is concerned, there's
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
have you ever gotten shut down by?
Never.
No.
And I have them drive by me in their golf carts and they look at me and they just drive by. Sometimes they slow down and they just look at me and they keep going. And I'm just like, all right, I guess we're cool. I don't, you know.
and no, like, acts of violence towards you, anything like this?
No, like I said, just some, you know, some flip offs, you know, here and there. Like the first one I did, the first Diablo parking lot show I did was for opening up for Heaven and Hell, which was Black Sabbath.
Oh yeah, man.
Ronnie James Dio.
Yes.
One of my all-time favorite bands, and they were right here in Broomfield. And I'm like, oh, I got to do something for this, you know. So I did a Heaven and Hell. I did a, you know, Heaven and Hell Black Sabbath set. You know, same thing, 3 sources. But this one because it was my first one, I brought a video camera and I went, you know, the parking space across me, set up my tripod, setting up my camera, doing all this stuff, you know, setting everything up, focusing it on my, you know, my car, getting all this, you know, go back to my car, you know, and line it up, do the set. And I do the whole set. And it wasn't until the end of the set, I look up and like the car right in front of me, with like this van full of people. And they were just like staring at me the whole fucking time, like set up, breakdown, the whole thing. And they're just like staring at me. I think afraid to get out of the van. But it was awesome. But that one, I got people walking by. They would see the camera. They would just like flip off the camera. So pretty much everywhere they walk by, flip off the camera. But it was, you know, because, you know, people, I don't know. Some people get really pissed off by weird, you know, and I don't get it. I mean, you just got to keep walking or, you know, any number of things, you know, I mean, I'm not chasing you down with my weird, you know what I mean? I'm not shaking my weird on you, you know, but yeah, people, you know, but also people are just like, you know,
I feel like that needs to be a t-shirt.
I'm not going to shake my weird on you.
I'm not shaking my weird on you. I want to see that on in the merch section of your website.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, but I don't know. I love it. But I mean, the first one, you know, I wasn't sure if I was, you know, because I was by myself, so I wasn't going to be able to sure if I was going to, you know, have the balls to do it. You know, I mean, you know, it doesn't really, you know, you're just playing music, 3 different sources that different, you know, it's not that, well, I mean, it's weird, especially in the, you know, in the cavernous parking garages. It just sounds so awesome. But I mean, I guess it's weird. I don't know. I always try to downplay my weirdness, you know. I mean, not that, you know, I don't know. Because my wife will always be like, "You're not weird," and I'm like, "I know, baby." You know?
Wow, that's the exact opposite reaction that I get.
I just think it's so funny that you say, like you said, you opened for Fish, you know,
That's
which
right.
in you know, in reality, you did.
That's right.
Their show hadn't started and you opened for them.
That's right. No, for sure. You know, I mean, so, you know, I mean, it takes a little ego in there.
So
you know, sure.
You said you made flyers too, and you said you put the
I always make
band's
flyers.
So you put the band's photo on and your photo.
No. It'll be like original artwork, but the band name on there. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's funny. I love it.
Yeah. I don't, especially for those shows, I don't try to co-opt any, you know, not that I feel like anybody's going to chase me down for a flyer that nobody saw, but, you know, I try to keep it, you know, on my level, you know what I mean? It's my show per se,
right.
That part of the show, you know?
Sure.
And, you know, and as far as anybody else, you know, because some people think I did open up for those bands, and I'm
Right.
fine with that too. You know.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly.
You know, I mean, I've opened up for Slayer, Jean-Michel Jarre. You know what I mean? You name it. I mean, Heaven and Hell. You know, wrestling. I mean, I'm very multicultural. You know, Scorpions. You know,
That was my first true rock and roll show.
Nice.
Scorpions. Yeah.
great. They put on such a great show still to this day. I mean,
On the Love at First Sting tour.
oh, very cool.
And
well,
they,
on the stage,
they had Fastway with them.
Oh my God, that would have been a hot show. Fastway was a great band too. Hell yeah.
Yep.
But that was hugely influential to me. I mean, like those old stage setups from the old metal tours. I mean, like the Castles Ozzy would have on stage, or Iron Maiden's stage sets, or their album cover. You know, all that from the 70s, 80s. I mean, all that was such a huge influence. Album covers, magazines. I mean, the era of like the Warren magazines, Famous Monsters, Creepy and Eerie, and you know, just like Vampira, and that stuff kind of exists now. I mean, it's everything exists because everything's out there. You know what I mean? It's just you just don't see it walking into the, you know, into the grocery store or the soda shop. And there aren't many soda shops anymore. But when I was a kid, we had soda shops. So back in the 50s, no, I'm really not that old. I don't know how I sounded so old all of a sudden. Yeah. No, never mind.
So when's the next time that you might foresee doing another one of these shows? Do you have
Diablo?
Yeah, Diablo.
That's a good question. Actually,
because it sounds like it's been a little while, right?
It has been a little while, yeah, pre-pandemic. Or I think I was toying with the idea during the pandemic to do some like drive-in shows, because I have this FM transmitter, and I thought about doing like shows in the park where you would just like pull your car up and just tune your radio to what I was doing. I played with a couple different ideas, and I was literally going to do Bat Out of Hell. That might be my next big opus project, Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell, and I might do it, you know, as a COVID awareness, because that dumbass, I guess, was an anti-vaxxer. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah. I knew he died, but I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, he died because he fucking COVID. Because
Yeah.
and you're just like, God damn. But anyway, sorry, love that album. You know, 70s kid. You know, Bad Out of Hell, huge album. So that's the next project that we're kind of slowly working on. As opposed to, you know, I'm kind of just gonna learn the album at my own pace. You know, I'm pretty much there. I know from listening to it all my life, but so that's the thing I want to do. Maybe still in the park. I've toyed with the idea of doing it in Lafayette, because they actually have a vampire buried in Lafayette Cemetery. So I thought that would be kind of apropos to do Bat Out of Hell there.
Who's that?
Yeah, it's actually, yes. I don't know. I can't remember the name, but it's a person from Transylvania buried in the Lafayette Cemetery. I know where the grave is, and it's a ridiculously old grave. And unfortunately, people always put like, you know, crosses and stakes on top of it, which I think is a very bad taste. But so I thought about doing that. You know, we've had my wife and I have been there and a few times, and you know, it's a great space. And I think I could pull off a guerrilla show in the park. So that's kind of been on my mind. Park shows. Like I said, I have this transmitter, so I could do it, and like a silent disco type of thing. You know, where you like have headphones in and you walk around and you listen to my performance type of thing. But I don't know if I would do that. I mean, I still kind of want to do that. But yeah, as far as Diablo, like parking lot, the Chemical Brothers are playing at the First Bank Center coming up, I think in November. I'm kind of toying with the idea of maybe doing that show. Yeah, it's hard to say. But there will be more. There definitely will be more, because I love doing it, and Diablo likes to drink, so it's a winning combination.
Oh.
Sorry.
So since we've already had like a pretty decent history of the bands that you've been a part of, continue on.
Yeah, sure. All right. So pretty sure. Yes. All my tirades and everything didn't scare him off either, which was amazing, because I mean the music was really good. But it finally just kind of, I don't know. I was just frustrated in that band. So I kind of just you know, took a long break, and we haven't gotten back together since. Although I would like to visit with those guys. It was a fun moment for sure. But then radio show came along, and man, really just changed my world. And then a few months into the radio show, because like after I'm out of a band, you know, I usually think, I don't know, I'll never be in a band again. I don't know how to do a band. And that actually I mentioned this again when the Hypnotic Turtle name came up. why it was so apropos for me is as too, as I have a lot of selective amnesia. Like for every creative thing I do, every time I start another one, I have no idea what I'm doing. It's like writing songs. I'm in this new band. I'm writing songs. I'm like, how do I write a song? You know, I mean, every time I do a flyer for a show, it's like, how do I do a flyer? I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's like, I would like to have like this go-to kind of, and I probably, if I was more organized, I would take notes and I would, that's never mind. I mean, I take notes. I'm taking notes. But yeah, so, pretty sure, sorry, I got off track again, always. So yeah, so we did the radio show and then, didn't think I was going to be in any more bands. And then, Sparkle Jets came along, which is a kind of an amalgamation of music from my previous projects with all new people. This group of people got together, Whitney, Hope, and Chris got together and courted me as their lead singer, which was fucking flattering and amazing. So I joined their band and we became Sparkle Jets, and we kind of started off doing a lot of my older material and some stuff that they had been doing. And then it kind of just morphed into that. Basically, we rewrote a couple originals, Never Shine, which we have a video out for that, and a remix, Never Shine 2020. I recommend checking out Sparkle Jets, Never Shine. You know, real proud of that song. You know, but we really, we spent a lot of time learning covers and stuff because we would do a lot of special shows, do birthday shows for friends and things like that. So we would always like learn new songs for the set as opposed to writing stuff. So we kind of, you know, didn't write a lot of stuff, but we did put out a great little EP album called Stargasm. Real proud of that guy. And yeah, and you know, we kind of went through a couple different lineup changes. Actually, the release party for Stargasm was an amazing show. We added keyboards and backup singers, and I think Victoria was with us on theremin. But we did the whole new album, and we did side one of David Bowie's Young Americans, which was a long time dream of mine. And then we just kind of closed it out with the greatest hits. But that was just an amazing evening with that band. And then during the course of that band, I was invited to join my, at that time, favorite Denver band. I mean, favorite band, period. But the Buckingham Squares. We had played some shows together when I was in the Pretty Sure, and you know, they took notice, and I appreciated that. And then we did some stuff, did a show together with Sparkle Jets and the Buckingham Squares, and we had a show booked with them, another show like a year later, and they contacted me one day. It's like, hey, we have to, you know, cancel the show. You know, singer just left, and you know, we don't have a singer unless you'd feel like belting out a few. And I was just like, you know, I just had to look around, and it's like fucking, you know, Candid Camera or something, you know. I mean, it was like, you fucking kidding me? It's like, yeah, you're my favorite fucking band. Yeah, when, you know. And you know, they invited me to their practice, gave me a couple songs to work on. I went in there, we fucking killed it, and it was, you know, it was this dream. It was a dream. I was in my favorite band, you know, and that lasted actually, yeah, it lasted about 3 years, and Sparkle Jets ended about the same time as the Squares did. And you know, it's just, you know, bands end. It's just one of those things. And that it was a bummer, but I was just high, just having done that. You know what I mean? Being you know, not courted, but I mean, being asked to join my favorite band. It was huge for me. You know what I mean? And you know, definitely a dream come true and bucket list check kind of thing. And you know, that fizzled out, and both those bands kind of fizzled out at the same time. And you know, still had the radio show, so I kind of just focused on that more, and doing art shows and that kind of stuff, and collaborations with friends and that kind of thing. And then another guy I've been a big fan of and friend of, Dave Angstrom. He had a band, Luna Soul. He's literally like my favorite guitar player in the world. You know, not local or otherwise, just my favorite guitar player. He was this band, Luna Soul, and you know, we had done some shows together. You know, it always just talked about doing, you know, we really gelled together, the two of us. So we'd always just like, you know, let's do something together. Let's do it. And this is like 5 years ago. This is 4 or 5 years ago. So it was one of those things, you know, we just talked, and it's like, I have a thing that's like, if I get together with somebody and we just talk about doing something, it's like, I get turned off real quick. So, you know, so we were just kind of, you know, so it became just kind of like playful Just like, yeah, we should do something. Yeah, totally. We'll do. Yeah, let's do. Yeah, we're going to. Yeah. And then finally, near the end of the pandemic, he fucking gives me a call and he's like, I got us a bass player and a drummer. You know what I mean? I'm like, what the fuck, dude? He's like, yeah. Are you free next week? You know what I mean? And so Wulfhound is born. And literally, I'm playing with my favorite guitar player in the world. And he writes these amazing songs. And usually I have a hard time if somebody else writes the lyrics. And even so, he gives me the lyrics. I'll be like, yeah, all right. And then I'll hear the song and I'm like, that's pretty good. And then I just go and sing his fucking lyrics and it becomes this amazing thing. I've co-written one of the songs. I'm not out, but he just comes up with it so much faster at this point. So I'm just happy to go with it. But yeah, Wulfhound, we'll be making we played a benefit in April for a friend. And so, but our debut show is coming up in September 10th. That's the same day of your guys' event, but down at the Black Buzzard in downtown on Blake Street in Denver. Wulfhound, baby. Wulfhound with Swami and Messiah Vor and the Plague Dogs, people. September 10th, Wulfhound, people. We're coming for you. So yeah.
You sent us some demos.
Yes.
And I listened to all 3 of those demos and I really enjoyed it, dude.
Thank you.
Like, I think you guys got something. I think
thank you very much.
Yeah. I will definitely, if I have the opportunity, I want to come out and check you guys out live.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good band, man.
Thank you.
I was rocking this afternoon listening to those demos, man.
Yeah. And we did a new one today that I think is the best one yet. So, it's just getting better. It's getting better. I'm really excited. I'm really excited. Like I said, like I just said. But yeah, I love it. It's like this band, it's unlike any other band I've sang in because for whatever reason, it literally takes my whole body to sing in this band. It's like, I always kill myself on stage, literally. It's kind of like this joke I have with myself. It's like my body literally after the first song is like begging me to stop. And I'm just like, now let's see what we can do. Come on, let's keep going. And I can't breathe. I can't, you know what I mean? I turn around a lot to take big whiffs and then but I don't never let them, they see me sweat because I sweat a lot, but I play it off pretty good, but literally my body is like, dude, please just stop. I don't know why you want to do this. I need to get in better shape. Period. It was what I should say. I should say that, but no, I'm trying to kill myself. Really, is not what I'm trying to do on stage.
Drinking's good.
Yeah, drinking helps. It does help. Yeah. Help. Oh, yeah. Gives me that confidence. Yeah.
I like it, man. I like it.
No, thank you. But yeah, no, we're really excited about Wulfhound. Yeah, I'm really excited.
I feel like you guys should be like sponsored by like Jägermeister or something.
That would kill me. That would definitely kill me. Our first, actually, the Lint, that was a very heavy Jaeger band. We did a lot of Jaeger in that band, making our electro sounds.
Which I checked out the one of those YouTube links that you sent.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah.
And the song Julie Newmar.
Yes.
Loved it. Loved it, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah. So if you're listening, Google it, find it on YouTube.
Yep.
I'll make sure there's a link in this week's episode notes so that you guys can all check it out.
Totally. Yeah. Julie Newmar, people. Julie Newmar.
New Magazine is our media sponsor for the Tenet podcast. That's NUE. You can follow both the national and the Denver edition of New Magazine on Instagram. The national edition can be found at new_magazine and the Denver edition at new_Denver_magazine. Look to New for compelling stories from the world of art and fashion. Thanks for listening.
People, this is Arlo White, and you're listening to the Tenet podcast. Get into it.
I want to circle back to the radio show.
Yes.
You kind of gave it, your catchphrase, whatever, at the beginning of what you kind of describe it as being. But if you can, go a little bit more in depth. Like it's music and interviews. You describe it.
Yeah. Like I said, the weekly mind meld of the bizarre and the beautiful. Yeah. It's got a couple different identities, really. Like when I have guests, it's more of a guest-based show, traditional-ish. And I guess I should, yeah, again, and if I have in studio guests, it's more of a guest based show where we play a song, talk, play a song, talk, that kind of thing. If I do phone interviews, then I'm able to edit something special together, like like a special, basically, of that artist, whether it's, Arthur Brown, or like I said, Tommy Stinson, or God, I'm drawing a blank, but I mean, the list of guests I've had is kind of ridiculous.
I saw Lita Ford was on there.
Ford, yeah, Sherry Curry, both from the Runaways. I mean, Mark Mothersbaugh and Gerald Casale from Devo. I mean, my idols, Alex Cox, the director of Repo Man, my favorite all-time movie. I mean, it's like I've been very fortunate and blessed to come full circle with a lot of my influences and stuff, like which was kind of embarrassing because my email address is a quote from Repo Man, and I'm emailing, the director of this movie from my stuff, and he, gets back to me, and in his last line is like, "Yeah, nice email," and it's just like, God damn, I'm just like, such a little fanboy dork, you know what I mean? It's like, but I mean, when I started the show, I didn't even think I was going to have guests. And then just like, like a few weeks into it, I was like, well, it's a radio show. I could have guests, and at first, I mean, I'm not going to lie, I was having guests on to get tickets to their shows. You know what I mean? I would have guests on when because I'm a hustler. My wife and I, for like 20 plus years, we were on street teams for pretty much all of the local promotions in town, hanging up flyers in exchange for tickets. You know what I mean? That's the only way we could afford our rock and roll lifestyles. You know what I mean? So, I was used to doing that and reaching out to people for things like that. So, and I would, start to get guests on literally to get tickets to their shows when they were coming into town. And, and then it kind of morphed from that to reach out, to think that, well, I could actually reach out to people that aren't coming into town that I'm trying to get tickets from, who I'd actually like to talk to, kind of thing. And I just started reaching out, I haven't done that as much recently, but I mean, I was reaching out, all kinds of, like I said, talk to the Arthur Brown from the Crazy World of Arthur Brown, a crazy 60s influence. He was like one of the first guys that wore makeup, huge influence on Alice Cooper and, guys like that. And just to, to be able to kind of put my finger in it, I make a flyer and I do the episode, and it's like, that's part of me now. I get really attached to my guests and their work, and just things that, I put my tiny little stamp on becomes a huge thing for me. But so that's, that's when I have guests. And then the show by itself, when it's just me and Diablo, I kind of let Diablo just go wild. And I kind of liken it to a Grateful Dead show where not musically, well, in a sense like a Grateful Dead show, because the Dead, they come out and they play a set, and then they come back and they play a set, and then somewhere, usually during the second set, things kind of get weird. They kind of go off into a drum solo, which is usually incredible and awesome. But then the drum solo goes a little long, and it kind of morphs into like a minimalist kind of thing. And then all of a sudden the guys come back out, or maybe one of the guys comes out, Jerry just like starts playing little noodly guitar riff, or maybe just some real spacey stuff. And then somebody else comes out, maybe like one of the drummers, and like starts playing like some polyrhythms to it. And it's just like this real spacey, weird thing. And it kind of like morphs into a couple different, 2 or 3 different things before it finally comes back into the show with like, a recognizable song, like, I don't know. Sorry, I'm not going to quote a Dead song, but so, and that's kind of my show. It starts off like a regular show. You'll hear a song, maybe a couple songs, maybe a whole set of songs, and then, maybe something gets looped, or a beat comes in and that doesn't go away, and all of a sudden something else starts happening, like like some movie bits or another looped audio bit, and then something else happens, or and it just gets weird, and it just kind of builds and builds and builds. And then it kind of slowly goes away, and kind of song comes back in. And then, and then maybe the next song gets played on 45, or maybe it gets played backwards, or maybe it sounds better, slowed down. And then maybe we put some more electronic, amazing 70s, like Vangelis or Wendy Carlos, airy synth stuff over the top of it. I mean, that's definitely going to happen, but I mean, and it just morphs into something maybe recognizable, maybe totally unrecognizable. I mean, and maybe it goes on too long. Maybe it doesn't go on long enough. It's hard when you're in those moments, I mean, all the Diablo, like whenever we ad lib a Diablo song or we're writing a song, they usually always end up like 7 or 8 minutes long. You know what I mean? It's just the natural. I mean, it's hard to, in the moment, it's really hard to edit down. I mean, I'm not that technologically savvy. I mean, that would be cool too if I, I mean, obviously there's so much stuff I could do nowadays that I just kind of still stick to the old tried and true hardwired stuff. And, with art and music, I mean, it would benefit me so much, just learn a couple fucking tricks, but, save me so much time. And, but for whatever reason, I'm not even stubborn. I don't know. I mean, I learn shit on YouTube all the time. I mean, but I don't know, for whatever reason, I hate school too. I think that's just what it is. I hate learners. I don't want to be learned anymore. So I don't,
So is all this stuff mixed live?
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah, it was. Since the pandemic, unfortunately, the station doesn't have a way to record the shows anymore for whatever reason. I'm not sure what the technical difficulty is, but so right now what I'm doing is I'm remixing my old shows. I'm going back and I'm almost at the end, so I'm gonna have to figure out something pretty soon here, but I'm going back and revisiting and remixing and adding new stuff here and there to my old shows, which is not my favorite thing to do, but at the same time, I think there's a whole lot of people out there who haven't heard many of my old shows, so to reuse that stuff, I think is great because a lot of work went into it the first time. And, and I usually, when I started this, I was very, very flippant where it's like, oh, one time only, never be heard the same way again, this and that. And I still like that. But at the same time, it's like, I need to record it. You know what I mean? Because I'm as big a fan. I'm my biggest fan. I don't have any probably problem saying that. It's like, I blow myself away constantly. I'm always surprised at what I can come up with. And I don't mean that. I'm just surprised that it actually comes off. You know what I mean? Like when I start a piece of art, like I said, my talents aren't, I'm not skilled per se. So when something actually turns out, awesome in my eyes, and it's like, I'm just fucking kind of like, wow, how'd that happen? Again, how'd that happen? So, and it makes it hard for me to give away stuff. Or sell stuff. I often, when I do have shows, I often price my stuff ridiculously because it's like, well, if I'm going to sell it, I'm going to get some money for it. But if not, I don't want to sell it. Our house is, it's going to be a museum to me at some point, whether my wife likes it or not. But no, she likes it, fortunately. But yeah, it's hard. I don't know. I'm just constantly surprised that I did it. Probably, as a child, like I said, I gave up everything I ever started, any sport or club or hobby. As soon as it got frustrating, I was out, and I was lucky or unlucky to have enablers surrounding me all the time. I was like, oh, that's fine. We spent a shit ton of money on it. Don't worry about it. Oh, whereas, if it was somebody else's parents, it's like, I would have been doing that, whatever that was, you know what I mean? And probably rightfully so. So, I had, previously in my life given up pretty easily. I really don't anymore. Just because, especially now, if somebody hears me say something, then I have to do it. It doesn't matter who it is or what I said. It's like, and I hate that about me now because I've done a lot of things just to do them because I said I was going to do them. And when, I probably could have done something else that I probably would have enjoyed a lot more. But, but, again, I'm just happy to get stuff done too. To be honest with you. Again, like I said, I was a giver upper. So, for me to stick to it, I impress myself to stick with stuff to the end, to be in bands, to make a CD, to any of the little things, to make a music video, to any of the simple thing, writing a song, all of those things were victories, you know what I mean? And continue to be. Anytime I have a piece in a show, or I have my own show or a band show, or they're really just victories for me, and they're a fuck you to somebody, who didn't take me seriously before, one of my little slogans that I don't say as much anymore, but everything I do has a little fuck you in it. It's got, whether it's just like a cute little picture of Bunny, it still says fuck you. You know what I mean? It's like, it's still, it's not like, I was in school and nobody, you'll never amount to, there's none of that stuff. Nobody believed in me, but they never they never insulted me not the right. Teachers anyway. The kids did, sure. But,
So what do you use to record your radio show?
Right now, I just, I use free software, Audacity, yep. I just download my shows. I bump them up. I edit out the stuff that didn't work right, or the songs that then, because again, when you're flying, that's what was impressive to me for my show. Oh, sorry, I can't get over myself here. Sorry. No, that was going back and listening to my shows. I mean, because they all were live. They were done live. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you're throwing a lot of stuff in there. And, I would get a hit more often than I would strike out in my eyes for what I was trying to accomplish as far as the smooth sound. Or another thing I like to say, like making weird listenable, and obviously, if you do a piece for like 15, 20 minutes, that's questionable. But I mean, I like to keep it kind of listenable because I don't want to scare somebody off with like, if I just play some like digital noise or I play some stuff that I know that's going to easily turn somebody off. I mean, if I really want to play it, I'll play it. But, nobody's probably going to be back after, 5 or 6 minutes of embracing, just like, you know what I mean? Chances are they're going to turn it down and tune it out. I mean, unless that's the name of my show, unless I was the white noise, abrasive mule show or whatever, it would be, which I'm not against that either. I mean, I love that shit, but I mean, I don't know. Again, I'm up, I mean, it's, it's kind of like, like I said before, it's like a snapshot into my mind, and it really kind of is sometimes because, especially now, a recent show I did, I think maybe just like a week or two ago, when I was listening to it again, and I kind of added some stuff to it and edited it a little bit. But it's just like it was a wrestling heavy show, so there were a lot of like wrestling promos in the show, which are incredible. I mean, even if you're not a fan of wrestling, just go on YouTube and type in wrestling promos. You'll be entertained for forever. So it's like a lot of wrestling promos and just and then at one point it's like a whole match, and it's like you wouldn't think a wrestling match would work well on the radio, but you put some some Vangelis and you put some a looped Caribbean steel drum beat to it. I mean, I don't know, man, it's pretty beautiful, and that's I see beauty. I mean, I'm not going to, I think most artists see a lot of beauty everywhere, or at least want to, or hope to, but I do that. And I hear that, my wife and son have recently become birders. So we go out birding a lot to look for birds, new birds, new species. And you're listening for birds a lot, listening to the calls and, identifying them by the calls and just the sound. I mean, just, bird sounds are fucking amazing and beautiful, and just mix that with the wind and cars and any number of things, music from a passing car. Or, I mean, like I said, since Little Theater kind of opened my mind to just like the beauty of just everyday sound. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, sure. Sounds can be very annoying, very, repetition and anything like that. Yes. But there's also a symphony going on constantly, you know what I mean? Or a masterpiece being painted, or any number of things, or that you just you see in nature, or you hear in I don't know. I mean, again, but that's kind of the way I work. It's everywhere. It's everything. I mean, literally. I mean, there was I would go to my job, and I was a sous chef for a long time, years and years and years, and I did counter service in corporate facilities. So I was corporate chef like the past 20 years of my sous chefing. So, it'd be, a counter service. So, they'd order the food for me. I'd turn around, cook the food. I'd serve them the food. And I would record that shit. You know what I mean? And for no reason, but I mean, but it's ridiculous to go back and listen to that stuff, or play it at a different speed, or to, like, again, put it to music, or I don't know. You know what I mean? So, I mean, everything, it has the potential for being art, or, and I consider art to be all of it: music, art, literature. I mean, obviously people need to differentiate for whatever reason, but I mean, because some people don't like everything, but I mean, anything that's done creatively, I don't know. That's what it's about. That's where it's at. Everything else is just paying bills, which is necessary too, unfortunately. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, and there's sports shit too. I mean, whatever gets you through the day, I don't give a shit, man. You know what I mean? It's like, if you got to watch the sports ball, I mean, fucking have at it, dude. As long as you're not beating your kid and kicking your dog, I mean, it's like, that's fine. I'm big on whatever gets you through the day, because I don't want anybody to judge me. Well, I don't actually give a shit. Judge me all fucking away. That's what I learned from Diablo. Judge me the fuck all you want. No matter to me.
Have you ever heard of Gordon Hampton?
No.
He does nature sounds.
Oh, right.
And then,
okay.
Yeah. Then he's found the quietest square inch in North America, and it's in Oregon. But my point is, he goes out, set in the prairie, has his expensive mics,
right.
and then he'll record what's going on in nature, and then he goes and makes actually CDs and stuff for it.
Sure,
it's really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that kind of thing wrapped in music or whatever, that's really cool. So I appreciate that kind of stuff.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and then you just keep layering it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Put some,
I'm fascinated by the way that you see the world and the way that you work. That's what I love about doing this podcast, is that everybody sees things differently, and the way that you see things is incredibly unique, which I know you're quite aware of. I do want to circle back though to like the interview aspect of your show. We get asked all the time, like, hey, what are your favorite interviews? And it's like, or what's your favorite interview? And we're always like, that'd be like picking your favorite kid, right?
Right.
But what are some of the interviews that stick out in your head that you really enjoyed doing?
Yeah. Man, I should have had a list. One of the most amazing to me was I had in studio with me, I had John Sinclair, who was he was the manager of the MC5, and he went to he was one of the big high profile pot busts. He went to jail for a joint, and there was like big benefits for him in Michigan. John Lennon actually wrote a song about him called John Sinclair. So he was a big countercultural figurehead. And he lives in Amsterdam and has his own marijuana strain and line and seed line and all that stuff, of course. But he was in town for a Neil Cassidy show at the Mercury, and I knew he was gonna be in town, so I hit him up, just like, hey, I do the show, a longtime fan. He's a spoken word poet at this point in time. Does a lot of jazz and blues history, spoken word. But like I said, a huge countercultural figure. MC5, one of my all-time favorite bands. Hugely influential to all my band projects. But anyway, he was in town. I picked him up, took him to the radio show. I mean, it was a nightmare of a day, but I mean, I got him to the radio show. It was like a blizzard night. And we smoked a big joint before he went in, because he got there and he's like, oh, I forgot to bring weed. He's like, I got a joint. He's like, oh, you're the best. And I'm like, oh. So we smoked this big joint and went inside to the radio station and just sat down and just like talked for like 2.5 hours, just going through his whole history. And it was incredible. And then when I initially contacted him, I asked if he wanted to do like a live piece in the studio. Like I would do the music, he would do a spoken word piece. And I kind of forgot about that. And then like towards the end of the show, he's like, oh, did you still want to do that live thing? And I was like, oh shit. And I was like, yeah, of course. So I just quickly went through my stuff, got a couple records together, and we did this live, piece. I did some music and he did this, spontaneous spoken word piece over the top. And, I mean, like I said, this guy's like one of my idols, and just his history, and, he's just an icon. And, I was just blown away. And, we did this thing. It was a beautiful piece. We talked some more. I had to give him a ride home to Denver after the show, where, we were smoking another joint in the car, having this incredible, just like, conversation, just about music, and at one point, I just blurted out this ridiculous fucking thing. I was like, oh, what if Coltrane had jammed with the Five? And like simultaneously, we both just went like, whoa, total like stoner moment, I mean, but it was incredible. That's
a beautiful thought, man.
Yeah, totally.
That's a beautiful thought.
But that was a big one. Mark Mothersbaugh was huge. I mean, Devo again. I mean, you probably can't imagine how huge Devo is to me. Gerald Casale, I talked to him first, actually went through the whole history of the band, and then had Mark on because he had some, he was doing his solo show. He took over the MCA. He took over the whole museum with his Myopia solo art show. But Devo had come to town first, and I talked to him. And then when he was doing it's just like kind of a, real quick interview. But then when he came to town to do the art show, I sent him an email, just kind of, random for the fuck of it. It's like, hey, do you want to, talk on the show? I'm like, totally, hey, mister, would you like to talk to me on your show about your art show? And he's like, gets right back to me. He's like, yeah, you guys want to come down and see it? So after I woke up like 20 minutes later, and got up off the floor, I was like, yes, please. So, he invited us down, while they're still setting up the show. I bring down my wife and my son, and, we're just like, and we walk in there, and Adam Lerner, who was, the head of the MCA at the time, it's like, who are you? And we're like, oh, we're here to see Mark. And he's like, he's kind of pissed because, he's got Mark on a really tight schedule. The show's, it's opening like the next day, and they're on a real, he's got to rush him off to like, this big talk, in like a couple hours or whatever. He's stressing out. And so we're just like, oh shit, he brings us into Mark, and Mark's just like, well, we walk in, sorry, I'm all over the place. We walk in the MCA, and there's like this incredible music is being played. It's just like, it's this crazy, like ethereal, like pipe organ music. And you're just like, wow, this, it's just like a loop. And so they take us in to see Mark, and Mark's playing this fucking, like this huge, like, harpsichord, invention that he made, like out of bird calls and all this stuff. And, he's like, you walk in there, he's like the fan of the opera. He's like up in his little, in his glasses, and he's just like testing out the stuff. And you're just like, holy shit, is this really happening? You know what I mean? And he just kind of dropped everything and took us on a tour of his fucking show. And it was just otherworldly. I mean, he's just, he's talking to us. I'm kind of asking him questions, and, and he's just going, takes us, shows us the whole fucking thing. And I mean, it was just mind blowing and incredible. And he could give a shit. You know what I mean? Adam's like, keeps coming, we got to go. He's like, yeah, no, in a little while. He's like, no, we got to go now. You know what I mean? Like Mark would have hung out with us for like another half hour, but, we just totally got booted out of there. You know what I mean? It was incredible. And then, like a month later, he did another thing at the Clyfford Still Museum. He put some music to a couple like 4 Clyfford Still pieces. And we went over to that, and, just started talking to him. He's like, hey, you do that radio show, right? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, would you, I recorded a bunch of stuff that they didn't use. Would you like to play that on your radio show? And again, after I picked me off the floor, I was like, yes, of course, let's please do that. And so he sent me all this shit. He sent me all this music that, has never been heard before. And I was able to get permission from the Clyfford Still Museum to, put the images on our website. So I did a collaboration piece where I, played the music and had the images, and, did this flipping thing. And I interviewed him again specifically about the Clyfford Still stuff. And then a couple months later, we're taking our son to LA to drop him off at USC. First year at college, total heartbreaking, destroying moment for his mother and me and us. But the day before, I, out of the blue, because Mark Mothersbaugh Studios there, I just sent him an email. I was like, hey, we're in town. Any chance we could stop by? Gets right back to me. He's like, yeah, can you be here at like 7 a.m? And I'm like, yeah. And then, he, plans change. He like calls and leaves a weird message. Like, he's like, oh no, I can't do 7, this like long, no, we got this blah, blah, blah. Can you be there at 9? And then it's like 9. And then, because I know, at 10 o'clock I have or like 10:30, I have a meeting with Pee Wee Herman. And I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? So, because I'm other huge lifetime Pee Wee Herman fan, Paul Rubens fan. I mean, huge influence. So, we're there, and we kind of I kind of totally timed the visit to where we're going to hang out and be there when Pee Wee's there. Right. Which didn't turn out really that great, but we were there when Pee Wee was there, which is fucking cool. But so we're in Mark Mothersbaugh's studio in fucking LA. And again, he stops what the fuck he's doing, and he takes us on like an hour and a half tour of his fucking studio. And then he sits, and at one point we sit down, and we're like at this conference table, and all of a sudden we're having a meeting. You know what I mean? And we're talking about the music, the Clyfford Still music. And, he's talking about, I would really like to, release this, and I'd like to have you involved, and this and that, and this and that, and I'm just like, shitting my pants the whole time. And, I mean, long story short, the project never happened. I mean, it's very shortly after he got he entered the MCU. He entered the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So his time and value has gone up, skyrocketed. So I mean, he doesn't have time for his vanity projects anymore. I mean, I'm sure that's not, but yeah, I mean, he's taken off to new heights, and more, nothing but more power to him. And Devo's been doing shows the past few years, I mean, who are incredible. If you ever get a chance to see Devo, even now, they are so fucking incredible. But so, I mean, I just had these incredible moments with Mark Mothersbaugh because of this show. I mean, and I had, obviously the fantasy of doing this project with him was great for 6 months, for when we were changing ideas back and forth and stuff. But, so, I mean, that's definitely up there. Mark Mothersbaugh is definitely up there. Gosh, who else? I've had great Slim Cessna's Auto Club and Denver Broncos or DBUK have been in the studio a couple times and done amazing things. We've done. I started doing hypnotic radio theater where we would do like play readings. We would do scenes from plays, and the first one I did was with Slim and Dwight from Slim Cessna's Auto Club. We did Little Women, and then I've done. I did a scene from Xanadu with Church Fire, a band Church Fire. We've done. We did another when DBUK came on with the full band. We did a scene from Facts of Life. We did. God, was that it? It might be one more. I thought there was one more. Anyway, so I mean, radio theater, something I'm very interested in. Would like to do that more. The show is still evolving. I've always wanted to be more of like a variety show ish, like a really bizarre variety show.
That would be awesome, man.
Yeah, with more live performances, readings, that kind of stuff. With obviously with the crazy atmospheric music and. Yeah, I mean, I really scratched the surface. I mean, I have been, I get stuck in my routines, in my, and it's still fun to do that. I mean, if the show wasn't fun, I would have changed it up a lot more. But yeah, I mean, there's still things I want to do with the show. There's yeah, I mean, I would like to make it more of a live thing. I've tried to do a couple live performances of the show, which, with mixed results. But I think that's something I would like to do more of. Definitely. I would definitely like to do more of, because I think it would be a great TV show. I mean, it would be a great variety show. I mean, that's kind of a thought I've had with the local wrestling scene, with my Devil's Donut thing. I kind of want to do like a talk show, but like a real kitschy set, with music and with art, but like interviewing wrestlers, but like a total like old school TV show set. I don't know if you guys watch Hanging with Dr. Z. It's Dana Gould. He's dresses up like Dr. Zaius from the Planet of the Apes, and he's like an old 70s like late night talk show host. Definitely recommend it. It's on YouTube. Hanging with Dr. Z. Definitely recommend. But yeah, totally kitschy 70s ish. I mean, I just like the 70s just because it was kind of freewheeling. Because you would see, you'd see John Lennon on the same shows with like the Osmonds, or you would see, even Frank Zappa or something like that on like a daytime talk show, or, any number of, we appreciate, the artists of the time were accepted, as opposed to now where everything's so genrefied. If you're not basically in the top 40 pop, or you're not getting on a talk show or a daily, a daytime show, or, unless you're like a classic rock act, you can get on the Today Show at like 6:30 in the morning, you can play the Times Square or whatever they do, or, but I mean, not that that's, I mean, I don't even watch I can't remember the last time I watched broadcast television, but I mean, but still people do, millions of people do. I mean, that's where the advertising dollar is. I mean, I don't know, but again, I don't,
I love the idea of a variety show. That whole thing should be brought back.
I 100% agree, especially with the talent level of people today. I mean, they have all those, America's Got Talent, but there's,
but that's a contest. It's not like you just sit there and you just take it all in and have this experience, right?
You get to have great stories and great, right. As opposed to just your one real sad story that makes everybody cry. And it's like, I really hope she wins juggling. It's like, I don't know. Because everybody's got such a hard luck story. I mean,
just think of the people that have variety shows like Johnny Cash, Mac Davis,
right?
Bobby
and they were these
Goldthwait.
coke fueled, just amazing things. I mean, it was like psychedelic. It was like everything. It was like, it was like homespun, and it was like psychedelic. It was like, you have Bob Dylan on, you'd have fucking, the Statler brothers on, I mean, it would just, you would have the mellowest of the mellow and the craziest of the crazy, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, it all just like kind of worked hand in hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
And whereas now it's like, if it's crazy, it's got to be all crazy show. You know what I mean? If it's mellow, it's gonna be all mellow show. You know what I mean? We can't have the two together. What would that be? That's crazy.
Right.
That's weird crazy. That's not good crazy. And again, there's not a lot of fun. How many TV shows do you watch that are fun? You know what I mean? Even sitcoms. You know what I mean? You're just, and again, that's probably, it could just be me. I'm not immune to the fact that it could just be me, but. But
hey, ever had an interview go sideways on you all the time that you've been doing this?
Yes and no. More like just I get too excited So like Gerald Casali from Devo, I was just really excited. So I would ask him the question and then I would answer the question. And then at some point, he was like, well, I don't know when the fuck I can talk. And I'm just like, oh shit. Touche. Yeah. So, but then, you know, or I'll just like ramble and like, you know, or I'll get caught up trying to ask a question that I like barrel way out of control. And I try to bring it back and just say something real stupid. And then it's like, and they get caught up in the one fucking stupid thing I say, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, ha ha ha, I'm just kidding. You know, because I mean, I wouldn't have anybody on the show that I didn't truly love or respect. You know what I mean?
Right.
I wouldn't waste my time. You know, I mean, I've done a couple of things for promotion, but
and that's the benefit of having a show, right? Like you get to have the people you want on the show, and it gives you license to call up people like you've done, and talk with people that are, you know, that you respect or they are kind of your heroes or whatever. But you have, you know, you have the ability to do this because you have a platform.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And I appreciate that. And I really try not to take that for granted. I mean, I do. I mean, I push it. I mean, you know, I've done stuff on the air that, you know, if somebody was listening would probably, you know, be questionable, but you know, I live in the fact that nobody's listening. So, and I'm just kidding, but no, I mean, I think the days are gone to where there's a little old lady scanning the dial at like 9 o'clock at night on the radio. You know what I mean? I think the days of people just happening to stumble upon you and it's being offended because of the one random thing, you know, I think those days are not long gone, but I don't see that too much of that going on anymore. People calling up radio stations anymore. What did he just say? I mean, maybe the talk stations when you got, you know, ridiculous fucking, you know, Rush Limbaugh type dickholes. But I mean, aside from that, but nobody's listening to a music station and calling up going, well, they did with the wet ass pussy song. People losing their fucking minds a couple of years ago. That Cardi B thing. I mean, you know, I never even heard it. You know what I mean? It's like people couldn't get away from it. I couldn't get it. You know, I couldn't hear it. You know, I couldn't fucking find it. Yeah. You know, and anymore, I mean, not anymore, but I think more now with the internet, obviously people just want to be upset about something. They really, they want to have their, you know, they want to form a group that's upset about this thing. And then everybody's like, yeah, that thing's stupid and it's horrible and it's ruining our kids, that thing. It's like, yeah, let's get rid of that thing. Yeah, that thing's got to go. It's like, and what is that thing? I was like, oh, it was a book, or it was a, you know, it was a commercial, or it was a fucking Teletubby, or it's a fucking, you know, the most harmless thing you could even fucking imagine. And it's like, we gotta burn it down. There's a moral disgrace in this country that we let these beings from outer space are gonna come down here and they're gonna tell our kids, nee, nah, not my house. I don't even know what the fuck. We're just upset to get upset. You know what I mean?
It's so American.
It is. It's so American. It's so American. And that's why I love it. I love America. I spell it with, you know, 1 M and 2 A's, or what, I don't know how to spell it. I don't fucking know. I was trying to make a joke there, but I can't stop staring at myself.
It's all good.
There, I got. You know. I'm trying to read the reflections off my glasses. I got.
Hey, that's what I was trying to do, man.
But no, I mean, I'm, you know, and I like my radio show because I love going on the airwaves and being fucking unpatriotic, you know, even though under the guise of patriotism. I play a lot of patriotic music because it's so fucking outrageously ridiculous. I found a lot of these great, just like 60s, you know, when we had this, like when the Ballad of the Green Berets came out and we had this amazing movement of just like conservative, ridiculous albums that came out, like Anita Bryant records and these like all these patriotic like sounds of the armed forces and all these amazing things. And they always have these like fucking amazing, I love my AR-15 gun songs, and they're just fucking so much fun to play on the radio because it's just like, God, we're so fucking stupid. I mean, it's just like, you know, and it's usually, you know, goes hand in hand with like some Trump soundbite that I've repeated for like 15 minutes or something like that. I mean, it usually comes after some, you know, political tirade on the show or whatever. Then I'll throw in a handful of goofy ass patriotic songs and maybe mess up the beat or a little bit, or speed them up or slow them down, or, you know.
You got to throw some grenades, man.
Yeah. Well, I do musical grenades.
Musical grenades.
Yes. Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, I just like throwing it out there. And again, you know, if somebody listens to my show and thinks I'm pro USA, more power to them. You know what I mean? Or if they think I'm the Antichrist, you know, more power to them. If they think, you know, I'm Christian, because I'll play a lot of Christian shit too, because if if you want to find some more hypocritical fucking shit in the world, check out Christian entertainment, the films, the music, and it's all pretty incredible, and or check out one of their 25 radio or TV stations and then hear how they're being repressed and being targeted through all the media, because they are the fucking media. But that's neither here nor there. But I'm sorry. That's
So where do you find so you just go out and find stuff and then sample it? You just record it and then
no. I usually just play the straight records. I'll play the straight records, or stuff like the sound bites and stuff. Yeah, or I'll take them straight off of YouTube or straight off of wherever they come from.
Yeah, I was listening. I can't remember which one. I think it was the most recent one, and I was skimming through it, and there was a part where I recognized a voice, but he had slowed it down so much that it was like, wait a minute, who is this? And I can't remember who it is right off the top of my head. I wish I could. I was just like, oh, I think this is so and so, and it's all just really slow.
Yeah.
And it was kind of funny.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
But yeah, I love all that shit. Jesus Christ Superstar is one of my favorites. Godspell, all that stuff. But again, 70s stuff. I'm a big fan of the rock opera, a big fan of all that, whatever the message was. Because it was all kind of the same message, even though it was kind of all veiled in a weird, even Tommy was a very almost Christian-ish, story tale. I don't know, but very surreal. And that's all that mattered. You know what I mean? It was very psychedelic and very weird. Through doing the show and meeting Slim Cessna. He was raised on Christian music. So we have a lot of conversations about Christian music, and I'm always fascinated. I want to know about the concerts. I want to know about the artists. He's turned me on to this one guy, Larry Norman, who I'm actually a really big fan of. And he's a really crazy fucking guy. He's just one of those, he claims to be the first Christian rocker, from the late 60s, early 70s. And, one of those guys that just kind of got, bigger than Jesus in his own head, and just a real weird dude. But he writes some real beautiful music that, you can't deny. I've had Striper on my show. And then 2 weeks later, I had Watain on my show, who are a satanic black metal band, and I did a series called Heaven and Hell. And, Heaven was the Striper show and Hell was the Watain show. And that was an awesome piece. I was very proud of that, and, I'm talking to Michael Sweet of Striper, telling them how they fucking freaked me out as a kid. I thought they were the scariest band in the world, Striper. Are you kidding me? Singing about God and shit, dressed up like fucking metalheads. That was freaky as shit to me. I was like, oh God, give me my Motley Crue records back. Fucking shout out the devil. Come on, man. Get it. This is a true story. I was at a friend's house and I literally thought, because he was like trying to play the Striper album for me, I thought if I listened to it, I would be converted. So I was like, I flipped out when he put it on. I was like, turn that shit off right now. Turn it off. I flipped out. I flipped the fuck out. But now I love it. I love it. And they're douchebags. They're Christian. They they're all anti-abortion, all this shit. It's still the same shit. But I don't defend their politics. I don't even. It's not like I'm any of that. But they're an artist. They're a musician. I don't have to agree with. Back in the day,
and they were a good band.
They were huge. They were huge.
They really are. If you listen to their stuff,
and Michael Sweet has a great voice, man, and he still got it.
On that fucking guitar. No, he shreds. Politics aside, I love reggae. I'm not a Rastafari. Again, a very Christian religion. I love reggae. I don't have to be devout to whatever I enjoy. It brings me entertainment. You know what I mean?
Good music is good music, right?
Right. Or, I watch Christian stuff, but admittedly, I'm laughing at it. But it's entertaining. Right. I'm not. But
so do you ever get any heat for your sound bites?
I really don't. I really haven't. And I'm knock on wood. Really knock on wood, because I've really put some, one time the phone was ringing off the hook and I didn't answer it. I think it was the Parkland shooting. For me, I played some stuff. I didn't play any sound bites, but I played a couple songs that I played Bikini Girls and Machine Guns, and I played Tommy Shaw's Girls with Guns. And I kind of did a bunch of gun shit on the show, not pro gun by any stretch of the imagination. Or, you could take it that way if you want, if you're fucking Looney Tunes. But my phone was ringing crazy that night, and I just decided not to answer it. But I've definitely, I'm not proud of everything I've done, but I do it in the moment, and it's live and it's real. And, I'm not telling anybody to fuck off. I'm not going on the line telling anybody your religion or anything you believe is stupid, that you're political. And I'm not, I'm saying that with some of the stuff I'm playing. Yes, I am saying that. And if you're getting that, you're correct. But I'm not coming out and saying with my own voice, I think anything is wrong or stupid or dumb or anything like that, or what I might actually.
You're just riffing, man.
I am. And I'm just, and I'm in the world, and I'm unfortunately conscious. I would love to be unconscious most of the time, but, unfortunately I see the shit going on around me, and it does affect me. I have I have a fucking wife. I have a daughter. I have, I have a son, who are, we're all represented out in the world. My son, I don't want to bring him out, but I mean, my son's gay, and, I'm very fucking beyond proud, and it would never, I'm a feminist. I'm pro fucking everything. I'm not any wing, I'm not 100% anything, but I don't draw, I do draw lines. I totally draw lines, but I mean, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's like, I'm not going to be like one of those guys where it's like, all right, I like to say bad jokes. What am I? Come on. I'm from the old school. No, I mean, I think, that shit needs to go away. I acknowledge that, but I also have shit ingrained in me that's just not going to go away. I still need to push buttons. I don't want to make anybody cry, but I'm going to push buttons. I'm going to make you think, or, make you feel something, whether it's outrage or whether it's, I don't know. I just want people to think and to know what's going on. So I know there's plenty of people that listen to my show and maybe listen to the current sound bites and have no idea what the fuck that's about. Probably don't know, and that's fine too. I mean, I'm not a news junkie. I couldn't be. I would kill myself. I can't do it. My mom was, and for quite a while, and it didn't do her any good. So I mean, but again, I'm an artist, and I'm conscious, and I see the shit going on, and I'll make fucking buttons, and I'll make things, and I'll make slogans, and I want to do that. I don't want to be a target. I don't want my children to be a target. Yeah, so I guess I'm a pussy in that way, but. I don't know. Again, I want to have fun. I want to enjoy my life. I don't want to see people get pressed. I don't want to see my daughter lose her rights, her physical, Jesus Christ. I don't. So I kind of need to be a wise ass for me just to survive in this joke of a society that we're creating for ourselves. I mean, my wife will say I'm either, I'm 0 or I'm 100. I'm either, and that's true. I'm all or nothing. I really kind of am. I'm a little more gray in my older age. I'm getting a little, because I'm very, I empathize a lot with most people that I come in contact with, and then I see, and and I have to block out a lot of that in order just to, again, get through it. Right. Yeah, man. I mean, so, I've had positive comments from people who've heard my stuff or seen my stuff and have known where I'm coming from and have seen what it is, because it's easy for me to see what I'm doing. It's pretty clear cut, whatever the piece is, whether it's with audio or video or whatever music, for me, it's clear what my vision is, but I also mask it a little, sometimes I do. Sometimes I like to say that. And then, for the first Dead Bubbles album, Reclamation Forklift Provider, I thought it was like having like these like little clues and hints and all this stuff everywhere. And then literally the first review, picked it all out, like right, instantly. And it was like, it wasn't hidden. It was just, because like on the cover of the album, it was a rooster and a big star and the Dead Bubbles written several times behind it. And the style of music we were called at the time was psychedelic cock rock. So, the cock was the rooster, blah, blah, blah. So, you got that. And then he's like, then he like kind of picked apart the album and he picked out all the things that I had hidden in there. And it was just, it was very clear. So when it wasn't, I was just like, oh, I'm being subtle. And he's like, no, it's just like, no, this is subtle, dude. It wasn't, I like to think I'm being subtle, subtle as a hand grenade, baby. That's the saying. But I think I do hide stuff sometimes, I think I do. I don't know. It's hard for me it's easy for me to say that, but I don't know. I try to be more subliminal than, I would rather it just stick with you, like Costanza, just after a while, it just sticks with you, so, I like my images, maybe the audio that's like most repeated in my show, like the key pieces, and I wouldn't know what those are at the moment, but but I have lots of them, the things that people that would stick out. I'm proud of all that, and it's very meticulous, and I really totally got lost. I don't forget what I was saying, but it is conscious. Everything I do is conscious, even though I'm trying for it maybe not to seem so. I think that's what I was trying to say in a very, very long-winded, roundabout, non-meaning way.
I want to pivot to talking about some of the visual art things that you have your hand in. Okay. Because Hypnotic Turtle, in addition to being a radio program, it's an actual like art collective that you've kind of set up, like this umbrella thing, like you touched on earlier.
Yeah.
Talk about all the different things that you facilitate under this collective.
Sure. So totally. I mean, just the general art, all the artwork. That's me. That's Arlo White.
And what kind of art do you do? What do you dabble in as a visual artist?
Again, like everything else, very scattered. My first love is abstract art. My first love would probably be graphic art. I mean, comics and visual and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, that was what first drew me in. But I learned very early on that wasn't really, I'm not Frank Frazetta. I'm not, I would love to be. I mean, I would love to be Derek Riggs, who did the original Iron Maiden album covers. That's just that crazy detailed, amazing. Make something that's in your head and put it on paper. See, so what's in my head and what comes out on paper is never the same. So that's where my talent lies. But yeah, so the artwork is mine. Yeah. Abstract art is my main love, but mostly recently, the past probably 4 or 5 years, I've been working in a lot of, I don't want to say realism. It's more cartoonish style. But I work with a lot of cardboard. I'm working with recycled cardboard mostly. Doing a lot of character stuff ish. Yeah. But I make a lot of, like for our art shows, I'll make a lot of magnets and pins and things like that out of cardboard. So there'll be smaller or larger, cardboard pieces, blah, blah, blah. And then I do larger pieces like for the past several years, not this year, but the 4 years previous, I did the Casamita art show at Next Gallery, and they were larger Casamita based cardboard pieces. So yeah, I'm kind of, again, all over the map with my art. As with music, I mean, I love pretty much any genre, and there isn't anything I wouldn't like to do. So, I mean, I do a lot of abstract stuff. I do a lot of collage art. The flyer art can be any number of combination of all the combinations, the cartoon stuff, the abstract stuff. I did the Casamita stuff, and then what am I doing? Well, I'm working on a show that doesn't have a home yet, but I'm working on a trilogy of shows. All right. I have 4 shows. I have 4 art shows that I am working on. One is the celebration of 10 years of Hypnotic Turtle radio art, because I've done a lot of art for the show. I do a poster every year for the show. Every time I have a guest, I make a special flyer for that show for the guest. And any other special show gets a special flyer. So there's been, over 100 show flyers, over the past 10 years, just for that, plus any other Hypnotic Turtle associated art since the radio show. So I'd like to do like a 10-year retrospective. And then I have a trilogy of wrestling art shows that I want to do. The first one will be all black and white, or grayscale, I should say. It'll be called Wrestling with Satan. It's a show I've been working on and off for quite a while. Just pieces here and there. It'll be a show and a zine release coinciding with each other. Like I said, black and white, kind of like a punk rock zine style collage with where I'm taking old wrestling articles and I'm making them about Diablo Montalban. So he's the antagonist. He'll be the antagonist in all the stories, but they'll just be like basically stories straight out of old wrestling magazines about Diablo Montalban with collage art and a whole thing. And there's a whole nother section of that, which is El Luchador versus El Diablo, which is I'm borrowing from Picasso's The Acrobat. He has this famous painting, The Acrobat. I have made a Luchador and a Diablo basically out of that. And it'll be a series of images with those 2 characters. So that's one. And then there'll be another wrestling show, which will be more of a mix of everything, because I have because my wrestling art is quite varied. So it'll be that's kind of my infatuation, I should say, or my addiction at the moment is wrestling, pro wrestling, professional wrestling, none of that amateur stuff. And again, it's very fun for the most part. There's some very unfun things about it, but it makes me helps me reconnect with my childhood, and I flip and love it. But I've been very inspired to do a lot of art. I've got, a couple hundred pieces at this point. Not that they would make it into the show. I would weed out the cream of the crop. But yeah, so that's something I'm very excited about. And I'm not sure how that's going to come about. Any of these really, because I just kind of I like unconventional spaces more than I like traditional gallery spaces. Not that I would turn anybody down. Hint, hint. Anybody listening? But I like creating events as opposed to just doing not that an art show is not an event, but maybe it's not. I don't know. So sorry, that's the artwork, Hypnotic Turtle. And then we also have the Hypnotic Turtle DreamBox, which is our little gallery out in the front of our house. And like people have little libraries, we have a little gallery. So instead of books, it has an art piece in it. And it's my piece. It's called Science Fiction. It was the first piece, 2019. We opened it up. And we had planned on obviously doing it more regularly, but something happened in 2020. I can't remember what it was, but things didn't work out as planned. So we're kind of taking it slow, and we're installing another DreamBox, another live gallery, and we're having the opening on July 29th. Our friend artist Kristen Aslan has a piece, Perspectives, which she's installed in the box, and I'm gonna install it outside if I can get the hole deep enough. July 29th, opening of the new Hypnotic Turtle DreamBox. And you can find more information at hypnoticturtle.com or at facebook.com/htdreambox. And I don't put the address out there just because it's my address. I mean, it's on the page, but you have to do a little work you have to click a button to find out the address. Sorry. But yeah, so we're excited about that. The DreamBox number 2. And then we're hoping to do more. We're hoping to get it up to where it'll be actual seasonal, every season have a new opening. But we're still a little ways off for that to happen. But then, of course, the radio show, Hypnotic Turtle Radio, 10 years on Radio 1190. And we cannot thank them enough. And my wife, the lovely Kim Nine, uploads every one of our shows to our website, hypnoticturtle.com, people. hypnoticturtle.com. People, and then we also have our record label, Hypnotic Turtle Records, where we've put out all of my releases up to this point. Lint, Dead Bubbles, The Pretty Sure, Sparkle Jets. We did a tribute to Dead Bubbles release. And also 2 years ago, I put out the tribute to Ralph Jean. Ralph Jean is a local singer-songwriter, country rock, underground legend. And been friends of mine for quite a few years now. And I thought it was a time to get a compilation together for him. And it was amazing. People sending stuff from really all over the world. We got a couple songs from Denmark, and I mean, mostly here in the States, but I mean, the couple from Denmark. I mean, come on. I mean, that was pretty cool. So I was really proud of that. Tribute to Ralph Jean. That's out there, people, on Bandcamp, or there's also a Facebook page, and it's also on Spotify. All that stuff's on Spotify, people, and YouTube, Spotify, and then of course Hypnotic Turtle Presents, where we co-present shows with Anchors Away Industries, and we have some shows coming up, people. On August 14th, we have Metalachi at HQ. On September 18th, we have Bob Mould at the Oriental Theater. On September 25th, we're doing Igor and the Red Elvises at HQ. On September 26th, we have Gwar down at the Oriental. Gwar, huge influence on Hypnotic Turtle and Hypnotic Turtle Radio. On November 17th, people, we have the Dead Boys at the Oriental Theater. And on November 21st, we're presenting the SoCal, I forget what they're calling it, the SoCal like Takedown or something. That's Black Flag, the Dickies, TSOL, and Total Chaos at the Oriental Theater, people. So we put on shows with Anchors Away. They let us put our name on some of their shows, and we can't thank them enough for it. And the Devil's Donut, our heavy metal and pro wrestling brother sister arm. We do podcasts, and we used to do video clips of the wrestling matches, which we might go back to that again. It was just so much work making little GIFs and posting them. And I mean, I want to do all that stuff and I want to support, but I just don't have, there's just not enough time in the day anymore for all this stuff. And I want to I want to do it 100%. And, but that's why I would love to do that talk show with the wrestlers, the wrestling talk show. I think would be awesome. The Devil's Donut people. Yeah. So, and they have Devil's Donut has shows coming up. Let me tell you about the Devil's Donut shows with the Anchors Away. We have on August 19th, Enterprise Earth at HQ. On August 31st, Creeping Death at HQ. On September 17th, Sick of It All and Agnostic Front at the Oriental. On October 4th, Michael Schenker at the Oriental. And on December 5th, another huge influence of mine, Wasp at the Oriental Theater. People, come on. All information at theorientaltheater.com and hqdenver.com, people. And we cannot thank them enough for, again, I said, just letting us put our name on their flyers and being part of the program. We really appreciate it and thank them for it.
That's really cool, man. That's really cool that you're affiliated and have your hands on all these shows.
Man, I can't tell you, man. I mean, especially as being a fan and, and I'm just a huge music fan for so long and, wanting to be in bands, wanting to be involved in production. Like we said, we were on street team for years, hanging up flyers and promoting shows and, just to get in for free, you know what I mean? Just because we couldn't afford to pay, you know what I mean? It's like, and now especially. So, Hustle, Hustle is not my middle name, but it's in there somewhere. But yeah, it's all about hustling. It's all about making this shit happen. Because if we're not doing it, you know what I mean? If Anchors Away isn't bringing this stuff into town, Live Nation isn't touching these shows. That's why they're going there. You know what I mean? AEG isn't touching these shows. That's why they're going there. You know what I mean? It's like, as big as they are, they don't handle every show. And that's, people need to understand there's plenty of independent promoters. There's plenty of independent clubs that book shows. You can support independent art. It's not that hard to do. It's just a conscious decision to be aware of who's doing what, where are they doing it. I go to Live Nation shows, I go to AEG. I'm not saying, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? You can make stuff happen. You can make better stuff happen. You can keep making stuff happen. A lot of the complaints in Denver right now is that, it's not the same as it was. And that's always the story. That's the story every month. It's not the same as it was last month. It's always going to be different,
right.
But DIY never goes away. DIY spaces do, because that's the nature of the beast. If it, if it was always the same, then it would just turn into a club, it wouldn't be a DIY space anymore. So, and I know not everybody is so defeated, but so many people are just so, you just hear, this is never going to happen again. There'll never be another place. There'll never be another place. They'll make it.
Right. You got to have some vision.
You get 2 to 4 friends together, you can do a lot. You can really do a lot. You just gotta want to do it. That's really all you got. You just gotta want to do it. You don't even have to know how. There's a YouTube video for anything now. Jesus Christ.
That's how this podcast started.
Yeah. Right.
Just
right.
a couple knuckleheads, not knowing what the hell they were going to do or what they were doing. And here we are.
Yeah.
Almost 3 years in. So.
Yeah. Congrats. Wow. Yeah. But that's my big thing. It's like, I didn't do stuff for so long. And I raised a family. It's not like I didn't do anything, but I was fighting my urges to do stuff, whether it was because, low self-esteem, or there was a time when I didn't think I could afford to be an artist because I couldn't afford art supplies. And now I make shit out of, discount paint and cardboard. You know what I mean? You can't get cheaper supplies. So, and that was just a mental thing I had to break out of, for whatever reason. I was boxed in. Because it was something I decided, I always, knew, I was a little different and, I was doing something that whatever, my path was going to lead me to something different. But I had to embrace it. You know what I mean? Otherwise I'm just working shitty jobs, or I'm just paying bills, or, getting insurance for the family. And I'm not saying it's all that dreary. It was an amazing time raising the family and the kids and all that shit. It was amazing. And the best, everything. I can't think about it for more than 5 seconds before I cry about it. That's how amazing it was. It was, but I was holding myself back in ish, I needed all that energy devoted to raising the kids and to working my shitty jobs and stuff. An escape would have been good, but I think it would have been too distracting at that time, honestly. I had escapes, but they weren't creative. But when I finally just, got off the pot, basically, because I talked a lot of shit, like I said, I would talk to people. It's like, I want to do something. And they probably look at me, it's like, why don't you fucking do something then? It's like, yeah. Because, talking's great. And then, well, it's not great. That's why I hate it, actually. And that's kind of one of the things I hate now more than anything. It's like when I started, talking about my friend Dave and talking about the band project, I thought was never going to happen, just talking about it. Oh, we need to do that project we've always been talking about, kind of thing. How many friends do you have, have that conversation with, and it's never going to happen. So, you've probably given up on it, but they keep bringing it up or whatever. And you're just like, dude, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But I hate that shit, man. Talking about a project for years, fuck that, man. Jesus, just shoot me in the foot, man. I just want to do shit, and that's kind of my problem with collaboration too. It's like you end up doing a lot of talking, and that's necessary because, especially, you don't want to step on feet and you don't want to upset people. And I don't, in a collaborative, I don't want to upset the people I'm working with for the most part.
Right.
That's true. Yes. But, I don't know. It's collaborations don't work. No, that's a song from the Sparks and Franz Ferdinand. They did a musical collaboration, and the first song that Sparks sent to Franz Ferdinand was a song called "Collaborations Don't Work." So I always thought that's pretty brilliant.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah, working with other people, it's hard. It's really hard. Artists, it's hard. We're sensitive. We're easily upsettable, excitable. Upset, everything, and rightfully so. But I don't know. It's hard. Collaboration is hard. I have a hard time with collaboration. Bands are hard. I have a hard time in bands. I'm having a good time in this band because I've totally just consciously not taken the back seat, but taking the side seat for sure. Because Dave is just so productive and prolific, and like I said, he sends me these lyrics, and my first instinct is like, oh. But then as soon as I hear him, I'm just like, oh, that's perfect. So, and I'm slowly getting over myself. Slowly. It's going to take a while, but I haven't given up all hope yet. But
I think you just roll with it, man.
Yeah,
time's ticking. If you're not your biggest cheerleader, who's going to be it, right?
Thank you. Yes, the clock is fucking ticking. You know what I mean? And not that I feel like I have this this finite work that I need to get out. I might not get another CD out. I might not do another art show, but I'm still gonna. I'm fucking doing shit all the time. You know what I mean? And I'm still, and my friends are, and they're inspiring me and motivating me. And, I hope I'm doing the same for them. And, and that's really all it is. Again, we're pushing each other. We're trying, we're having fun. We throw parties for each other, for our art shows and that kind of thing. And that's really, obviously, sure. I would love to have my shit be in demand and people want to pay a lot of money for my stuff. I would love that. But then, but there's no but then. I would love it. But then there's always the thing, but then would my art be compromised because I'm just making, who gives a shit? You're making a lot of money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no shit. But the difference is you're doing it. That's the key, right? You're doing it.
And I need to do it. You know what I mean? It keeps me.
It's part of who you are.
Sane. I don't know if it makes me more crazy or if it keeps me sane. That's another debate. But like I said, my mind, I don't want to go on lithium or anything. So, I'm stuck with the way my brain works, so I'm always going to be just kind of bouncing around. And ideas, man, that's the crack to me. I fucking love ideas, and then the planning out stages and the making it happen, not as much, but ideas. If I could just sit in the room all day, just bouncing off ideas, man, just writing them down in my little book of ideas. Oh man, that would be awesome. Ideas are cracked, man.
I love that, man. I tell people all the time, I'm a full-on idea guy.
Yeah.
I can pull ideas out of my ass all day long.
You guys need to make a blog about all your ideas. And that's all it is. It's just ideas, not to do anything with them, but here's a bunch of, if you want to know an idea, come and check out my ideas.
Oh, if you thought this was gibberish, you should see my idea log. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Oh my God, this has been awesome. I've really enjoyed tonight.
Arlo, man, thank you so much for spending time with us this evening and kind of laying out all the different things that you do.
I want to get you guys on the Turtle. Turtle show.
I would love to be on the Turtle.
That.
Yeah, for sure.
I would just love the experience.
Oh yeah, you betcha.
But we went the full experience, man.
Oh yeah.
No rehash stuff, no remix stuff. With the
full for you guys.
Do we need to be in the studio? Is that how this is working? So eventually we would come to your studio and we would do it live. Is that how you're thinking? Or Zoom?
We would probably tape it over the phone. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I can't record anything that goes on in the studio right now. Which
they need to get that shit fixed.
I don't even understand. Well, I don't want to get too much into it, but
no.
It's weird. I don't understand it, but
we want the full experience.
So you will get it. You will get it.
Do we need wrestling masks?
Oh,
I mean, if you want to fit in, that's all I'm saying. I mean,
All right. It's a done deal.
where does a guy
We
get a wrestling mask?
you got to go
Internet.
online. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Internet.
just internet.
Come on, dude.
Yeah.
I know you're 60,
Google it.
but fuck. All you got to do is Google it.
Google that shit, Wes. Oh my God, wrestling mask. I might have to start collecting wrestling masks, maybe
Dude, it's
straight up from
Wrestling-
Mexico.
You have
such an
the
addiction, dude. It's such an addiction.
Yeah.
I gotta tell
you have the perfect melon for a wrestling mask.
It's big. It's
I thought it
big.
was-
I can just picture it on you, man. I don't know if I can pull it off, but
Oh, totally. Everybody can pull it
yeah.
off.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
Yeah, they got ties in the back. Make it as tight as you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
You have a small head, so they'll be able to pull it off
I got
easily.
a tiny head, dude. I really do have a small head. And it's odd shape too. That's why I can never go bald. I got like some weird like crevice thing, and I don't know. It's fucking weird. I'd be the weirdest looking bald dude.
Oh my God. Well, I'm looking
shit.
forward to it. Full experience.
Yes, definitely. Full
Awesome.
experience.
All right.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Again, check out Arlo's website, hypnoticturtle.com, and on Instagram at Hypnotic Turtle. And you can find him on Facebook. He's got a Hypnotic Turtle Facebook page. And don't forget to tune in to Hypnotic Turtle Radio Wednesday evenings at 9 p.m. at radio1190.net.
Yep.
On September 10th, get out, go see Wulfhound
Wulfhound, baby.
at the Black Buzzard, 1624 Blake Street here in Denver. And so what do you think? In front of the stage, we set up a mashed potato wrestling pit. And Wes and I will come wrestle that evening as you guys play.
Oh
What do you
my
think?
God.
Can we pull it off? Can we do that?
I don't know. Don't write any checks your butt can't cash.
Oh, I see that. You're gonna go
You
buy
know
some
what?
spreads.
I just forgot. He knows jujitsu, so he just kicked my
That's
ass.
right.
It'd be like a quick like 3 seconds.
So is there gravy involved in the mashed potato wrestling?
No,
If you want it.
no.
Definitely
Nope,
gravy.
just straight up mashed potatoes.
Brown gravy for sure.
Yeah, there's another one that is the gravy one. So
The gravy
What?
boat. Yeah.
The
yeah.
gravy train.
I know
And,
we're all on it. Yeah.
And I don't want to forget to mention the opening reception of it's Kristen Aslan's,
Yes.
her last name.
Yes.
Perspectives, Friday, July 29th from 7 to 11 p.m. Put on at the Hypnotic Turtle DreamBox.
Yes.
You don't want me to say the address,
Nope.
though, right?
They gotta go find it.
You gotta
gotta find
go.
it.
You gotta go to the website hypnoticturtle.com, and there's also a theremin.
Yes. Victoria Lundy.
performance
Yes. She's a
at 9
theremin maestress extraordinaire. I mean, she makes that thing fucking sing and dance, man. Victoria Lundy. VictoriaLundy.bandcamp.com if you want to check out some amazing theremin music.
Right on. Cool. Arlo, thanks again. And for the Tenet Podcast, I'm Todd Pearson.
And I'm Wes Brown.
Have a great week.